Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And boy, there were as always, many things I wanted to chat about today, but something came to me that I thought I had to talk about because it covers so many aspects of our country, so many aspects of my state, so many aspects of cities in general. This is a big deal for a lot of reasons. And I have to give you all a trigger warning. Trigger warning. Mike Voss, my brother, if you are watching today, get the bucket. I'm just saying, have it next. Don't be mad. If you throw up on your shoes, it's not my fault. I'm warning you now. You're not going to be happy about this one, but I got to show it because it does matter. And it matters more than anything because there's a lot of people, as you know, running in blue areas, blue states, my state, New York, thinking that they got it in the bag because of what's happening right now with New York City. They are wrong. They're absolutely wrong. This is not as bad as some people may think. I'm going to show you why and how, so you're sure before we move on. Of course, this is an AMA, so I absolutely will be discussing what you want, but I had to start off with something, and I thought, what better to start off with than my mayor? Yes, my mayor, Zohran Mamdani, and he has a new tax. He has a new, Mike says, what kind of pro-social? Yes, you got the bucket? Just get his, Mike knew it's coming. It's coming, absolutely. Okay, so, all right, this is his, for those you don't know, Zohran Mamdani has got one of his new taxes put through. He did. It is the tax on the wealthy people who buy extra stuff. And let me explain it to you right now, who have extra homes. Let me just show it to you and you'll see it. I'll let him explain it. Let me make it a bit small. There we go. All right, I'll let him explain it.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-a-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This
by name. You can say whatever you want. That shit's gangster. It just is. He named him. He named him. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, John, he's thrilled. You're right. He is thrilled. He is so excited. He is so jumping for joy over this. He is like, look at what I did. I'm taxing people. Loving it. You can see it. Now, here's the best part. Here's the best part is that with all of this, he gets to show on top of it his charisma with his little tap in and all that. While I can't stand this, I must respect the game.
Pied-a-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich.
See, and the people who love him, the rich of the rich, are by default evil. Like by default. He might as well have said demons. There's no difference in his mind. He might have just said, this punishes the demons. It's the same. There's no difference in those words.
Who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so,
Now, there is the glory on this. There is the glory is that he does this to people who don't actually live here. I mean, if you're going to start the game this year, and he had to have some wins this year. He had to, right? Because he talked all his trash. You can do X, Y, and Z. People are like, he's not doing nothing. Oh, no. This is not actually the tax that he said he was going to get. He didn't. He was going to do I'm a rich guy tax, right? But he couldn't get that one. So he got this one. But the people who love him, they don't notice. All they hear is, I'm taxing the demons. That's all they hear. They hear, I'm taxing the demons. I said I was gonna, and there I'm taxing demons. Again, this is not what he actually campaigned on. He campaigned on all the wealthy people get punished. But Kathy Hochul wasn't going to go there. She could not go there. So instead, he went to, here, I'll tax rich people who don't live here. Now, Hochul's like, wait a minute, they don't live here. Well, damn, they don't vote for me. They already gone. Deal. Again, kudos to Kathy Hochul for this one. This was well done. Again, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying politically, people keep saying, oh, Mamdani's stupid, Mom dummy, all that kind of dumb stuff. That is Republican cope. These people are not stupid. This is the perfect example of them not being stupid. They're using his charisma, which he has in spades far more than Hochul has. So he announces it. See, I'm taxing the demons. The people go, oh my God, he's amazing. And then Hochul doesn't lose any of our tax base. Those of you who don't know, there's give or take 10 to 15,000 pied-a-terres in New York City. Give or take. The majority of them are in Manhattan. Some are in the Bronx, some are in Brooklyn, some are in Queens. It happens. But the vast majority are in Manhattan. And at least half of them are not even owned by Americans. People don't know this. They're owned by Chinese, Russian oligarchs, stuff like that. A common thing many of the wealthy people across the globe will do is if they're in a world where they may get in trouble. This is a real thing. I've talked about it before. Say you're a Russian oligarch and you don't know if you're ever going to be able to get all your money back or Putin's going to be mad at you one day, whatever. So what do? You got to get your money out. Well, you can't get your money out of the country. So what do? You buy property in another country. So you buy property in, say, New York City, and you buy 3 multi-million-dollar apartments, maybe $10 million apartments, $15 million apartments, whatever. This guy, $200 million, but most of them are like around 10 to 20, $30 million. So you buy 3 $20 million apartments using the same building, often the same floor. You hire a management company that takes care of them. You don't live there. Now, what do? You send your children here. It's a common thing. So you send your child to go to college here or something, right? Whatever. And you send your child here to start staying here, and they stay for free in one of your apartments because, of course, you're a Russian oligarch. And you pay them your monthly stipend, and they stay here, and they spend money, and they go to college. Hopefully one day they're legally here going to college. Hopefully when they become like a green card holder or something like that. Or you can pay your $1 million, whatever, your gold card now that Trump has. And now you make them be able to stay here and go for green cards, all that kind of good stuff, right? So that happens. So now if Putin gets mad at you, you can flee Russia. Why? Well, you have some cash that you've held out other places. Lots of you are going to lose in Russia. You come here, you live in the other apartment, or you live with your kid, and you sell the other apartments to make cash. That is a thing that they do. So most people don't know that. So this looks like we're beating up all the rich people. It's brilliant. This is really well done. So let me keep going.
Able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty since, again, they don't actually live here.
This is such good pandering. You can be mad at him all day long. I tell you all the time, people love this guy.
This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working workers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city.
What a coincidence. Same amount of money that the supposedly they told us that the congestion pricing would be. Huh.
It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods.
See, they're going to pay for free childcare. You didn't know that? It's going to happen right now.
As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city. And some, a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
You can say whatever you want. This is well done. This is well done. Well played, Mamdani. Yet again, well played. If you're going to sit here and tell me, and this is what Bruce Blakeman and his ilk will say, we're going to win because you got Mamdani now. You got this? This is your enemy? Your enemy is savvy. Your enemy is smart. Your enemy has charisma. What is wrong with you? You have to have a better answer than Mamdani bad. That's not going to work. And you might go, but Larry, did you see how bad he did on on X? Yeah, I saw how bad he did. As of now, 46 million views, and he did not get ratioed. Now, 15,000 comments, 250,000 likes. Yeah, most people like this. This is not a bad thing for Democrats. And here's the point. That's what you have to care about. They go, but Larry, that's not, what's the mainstream media going to think about this? They're going to show how bad it is. Right? Everyone I see says how bad it is. And I do. If I look at my X, everyone's attacking this on my X. They're all attacking it. I knew, okay, it's because half of them are libertarians at least. And of course, it's a terrible idea. But let's go see what MS Now, the morning show, that's so important. What do they think about this? This must be terrible, right? Because they're all rich people, and they must hate this, right?
Mayor Zohran Mamdani is backing a new plan to tax some of the city's richest residents.
When I ran for
Okay, they just show it again. I'll zip past it. They just show it again. We don't have to watch it again. I don't need Mike to throw up more than once in a night.
All right. So as you heard there, this tax would apply to the ultra wealthy who own
The ultra wealthy. See, she called them ultra wealthy, and USA Today says super rich. Basically, demon. I wish I was joking, but you know I'm right. This is how they look at them. You might as well say demon. There's no difference in their minds in just going, he's a demon slayer. That's what he is. He's a demon slayer.
multiple homes in the state, putting an annual surcharge on homes valued above five.
See, it's not a tax. It's an annual surcharge. Okay, Brana? Stop what you're taxing. It's not a tax. You said it. It's an annual surcharge. Way different. Completely different, Brana. Okay? It's not a tax. Why you your taxes? It's not. It is an annual surcharge. Mike and I joke about this all the time. And I would tease Mike because he goes, that's BS. He would tell me, what it really is. And not that Mike isn't right. He's right. But I would always say, you don't understand. The rhetoric of the left is just so much better than the right. The rhetoric is so good. It's not a tax, Mike. It's an annual surcharge for the ultra wealthy. So come on. That's got to be fair, right?
$5 million when there is no resident who lives primarily in New York City. The mayor's office says the tax is estimated to generate
also $13,000
$500 million annually
yes.
and would impact 13,000 New York City homes. The plan was unveiled yesterday by New York's Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul.
Now, brilliant on Hochul. Brilliant on her. Why? Because she has to somehow make sure she shows that she can be left enough, get her left street cred, but she's not really a lefty. So she can't go too far left, but she can go left enough. This is perfect. She doesn't lose her people. The people who are already gone, and they hate her anyway. She doesn't lose any of her people. Now, she's going to tell, this is what she's going to tell her donors. Don't worry. I'm going to let crazy man do something this year till I get elected. Then don't worry. I'll get rid of this stuff. This is as far as it'll go. That's what she's telling her people right now. Guaranteed.
And expected to be part of the next state budget, which legislators are months behind in approving.
They can't get the budget done.
Let's bring in, Joe, let's go.
Now, she's okay with
you
this.
First on this. You're going to have to get rid of your pied-a-terre. Sorry.
Yeah, I am on the 87th floor of, I don't know. So this is very interesting. It sounds like a plan that most New Yorkers will actually approve of.
Did you hear what he just said? It sounds like a plan that most New Yorkers would actually approve of. Guess what? He's right. I wish this guy was wrong. I really wish he was wrong. I wish he was full of crap. And I go, no. He's right. Most New Yorkers, totally fine with this. Yes, get rid of the demons. That's what they think. This is why Republicans can't win a statewide election, because they don't understand this. I do. That's why I show you. I try my best to show you, to the best of being as neutral as I can be. I know that's hard. I wear my libertarianism on my sleeve. I'm not neutral. I'm not saying I'm neutral. I'm saying I'm as neutral as I can be. That I am. I'm trying to show you what people, particularly New Yorkers on the left, how they're going to see this. They're not mad. And you were going to watch, guarantee you're going to watch all the Republicans. Look how evil, communist, socialist, blah, 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 and they're going to raise money off this. The Republicans love it because they can put this out and raise money off it. They're not going to change anybody's mind. They're just going to raise money off of it. That's the problem. You have to have another answer. Lunatic is in the house. Thank you for $2. The Pledge of Allegiance written by a socialist. Of course. Phil, give him memberships. Thank you, my friend. Lunatic again, $10. Thank you. Homework. Everyone has to listen to or read Democratic Socialism, American Style. We Own the Future, written by Tantor Media. You will crap when you hear their plans. Be prepared, Larry. Read it. All right. Now you make me do homework. Let me put it in my schedule. If I don't put this in my schedule, I'm not doing it. So I'm going to put it in my schedule. My team knows this. If I don't put it in my schedule, it ain't getting done. See if I can, yeah, I'm nothing better to do, Lunatic, but do your homework. Now I got to do homework now. Thanks, Lunatic. Hold on. Let me put it in. If I don't put it, it's not going to get done. You guys know I'm trying to get on the ballot, right? Yeah. You know I'm trying to run for governor, right? Lunatic's like, do homework. Thanks, Lunatic. All right. I put it in. Let me see if I can get it done. I'd say I didn't blow you off. I put it in. I physically put it in now. We'll see if I can get it done now. All right. So anyway, we saw that one. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. But as I'm trying to say, they're not. Yes. Mike says Republicans understand just far more focused on real consequences, loss of revenues, than the vibes which are immaterial. That's my point, Mike. You walked into my trap, brother. This is politics. The vibes are clearly material. And that's the problem. If people were only voting logically and all those things, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying politics says no. Politics says vibes matter a whole lot. That's the problem. Republicans like you don't get the vibe check. The vibe check matters. And that's the vibe check right there. That's the vibe check.
I remember, as you know, I get one of those bicycles, like somebody actually drives me. Not city bike, but where I'm being driven behind. Like Louis Bergdorf used to always take me into rickshaw. That's how I used to get into work. I still do. But we were going past. It was about
why does he say this? Why does he say that he rides his bike in? Why must he do this? Why? Because they're lefties. So they have to pretend like they're like me and you. See? Missy, he's just like you. This guy's like you. He rides a bike. He's like you. He's not one of them evil demons who has lots of money. Not that they don't pay him by the way, they're married. They're not that MS now doesn't pay them tens of millions of dollars every year. No. He rides a bike to work. He's like us. And then he can talk trash. Yeah. All these guys on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC, all of them are hypocrites. Every single one of them. And they're no different.
Decade ago, the plaza, and I was like, why are the lights always dark when you go by there? And Lewis, of course, who knows the city better than anybody else, he goes, well, that's because most of those places, I don't know if it's the case now at the plaza but most of those places are owned by wealthy people from, whether it's China, Russia.
See, this is not a bad thing, because now also these are the evil oligarchs. So you right-leaning people should be happy with this. See, Mike, now he's pandering to you. This is beating up Chinese people and Russian people. And don't all the right-leaning people hate all the Russians and Chinese? That's what he thinks, at least. So now he thinks he's pandering to you, Mike. Did he win you over? I don't think it worked, did it?
Europe,
he was trying.
Saudi Arabia, they buy them. And they put their money in them, and they maybe show up one or two nights a year.
Chinese again.
And so that's happening all over the city. I always thought it was a shame, a real shame, especially because it drove up the costs for other New Yorkers.
See, this drives up the costs. See, this taxes what you guys don't get. Taxes make things, I can't even say it without a straight face. Ooh, okay, I'm going to get this one. I got this one. I'm sorry. Caught me off. See, guys, taxes make things cheaper. He just showed us how. Look at that. See that? Taxes make things cheaper, lunatic. Why are you mad? He just showed you. Now, everything, can you feel the cheapness? I feel it already. Now that Mamdani's taxed these people 13,000 extra apartments, everything's cheaper now.
People who live there, but now this is interesting. A very good way to possibly raise revenue from people who park their money here.
See, those evil people and
raise
demons.
Rent for other New Yorkers.
Right. They're raising rent for people.
And they do that and don't pay taxes. So at least don't pay income taxes. Let's bring in a man who I know is going to think
this guy, they're going to bring him for a second. I'll be fast. This guy is an economist. He is. Ron Stahl. He's an economist.
Greatest idea ever. Former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst.
Treasury official. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. See, he's got a credential and all. This guy has a credential. He's a former Treasury official.
Steve Ratner. We're going to get to the charts in a moment, Steve. Hey, Steve, even for an old Republican like me, this seems to make...
He's a Republican, Mike. He's one of yours. See that? He's one of yours, Mike. He's a Republican. See, that's why I was pandering to you, because one thing this guy knows is Republicans. He knows them. Got him down. I'm sorry, Mike. I made you throw up like 4 times, didn't I? I'm sorry.
an awful lot of sense if you have to raise revenue.
This makes sense, he says. The Republican says the wealth tax makes sense. This is how MS Now works. This is their Republican. And he says how raising taxes on the wealthy works.
Yeah, look, it's not the stupidest idea in the world, I'll grant you that.
Not the stupidest.
We're dealing in a very complicated political dance between the mayor, who would like to raise taxes all over the place on everybody, and the governor, who has to get elected across the entire New York State, who is a moderate herself.
And that part I wanted you to hear, right? I'm not the only guy who says that. That part's actually true. Even the lefties say that. Kathy Hochul is not a Marxist. She would be a Marxist in a heartbeat if it got her elected, but she's not naturally a Marxist. She is whatever it would be. Now, the last thing I want to bring up, Brendan says, nice Doom magazine. It's true. My favorite supervillain is, without question, Dr. Doom. And you see it right there, Doom. And there's a little Dr. Doom next to him, if you can see it right, the little doll next to him. My favorite one. And one of the reasons I like Dr. Doom so much is he will use both magic and science together to do what he has to do. And his goal is to save his mother's soul. Some people don't know that. That is his goal. His mother's soul was taken by a demon, obviously a very rich person, same thing. And he wants to get his mom's soul back. That is true. So there is an actual human side to Dr. Doom, which I actually enjoyed. So yes, that's true. Thank you for noticing. So this one, if I could. This, sadly, all right, this is an attempt, a very feeble attempt, at Robbie Sauvé trying to defend this, trying to attack this, while one of the worst pundits ever is gleefully talking about this. And the reason why I say I want you to see this is this isn't just one group of pundits who likes what he's doing. Oh no, this is lots and lots of New Yorkers who are gleeful on this. This is not this is a bad thing among conservatives, libertarians, Republicans, but among most people who are left-leaning, this ain't bad at all. This is not bad at all. All right, I won't make you let's do it again.
We're taxing them.
Have proposed a pied-a-terre Hochul and
look at her face after seeing that. She is smitten by this man. She wants to marry him. She about to steal him from his wife. She's about to move to New York and steal Mamdani from his wife. She's about to do that. She's going to dump her man. I'm telling you, if her man's watching, he better double down on his game because he's about to lose her. She's about to move to New York.
Zohran Mamdani have proposed a pied-a-terre tax on second homes in their pledge to tax the rich.
I like the tap on the glass. The tax would apply to those who own homes valued above $5 million in New York City, Robbie, but do not reside there permanently. It's projected that this would bring in over $500 million annually. Let's take a look.
How happy she is.
This pied-a-terre.
All right, I must pop past that. I don't need you to do it again. And this is Republic. Some more right-leaning people being upset about it, and I get it.
This received mixed reactions online. Author Clay Travis wrote on X, every time New York, California, and Illinois raise taxes, more wealthy people, the ones actually paying the taxes, leave for Tennessee, Texas, and Florida.
But here's the key. The response to this is always the same thing. Well, they're already gone. That's why this is such a masterstroke. Well, they're already gone. They don't live here already. Yeah, doesn't work, Clay. They got you on this one. They were ready for it.
Making those red state tax bases stronger and weakening the blue state tax bases. Huge transformation underway here.
And Californian Representative Ro Khanna said, if NYC had been good to you, you can do good for NYC.
Now, this is the thing that's important. Ro Khanna in the Democratic Party is very popular. Very popular. He's calling for Schumer to leave. If you know Democratic politics at all, he's kind of like the rebel leader, if there is such a thing, in the Congress, in the Democrats. He's as popular, if not more popular, than AOC now. He has a lot more leadership, respect now. When he says this, you can guarantee Democrats love it, because he's not going to say something the Democrats aren't going to love. He's saying it.
Zohran Mamdani for taxing the ultra wealthy to pay for childcare, free buses and housing for millions of New Yorkers. What a novelty to deliver on a campaign promise. Mamdani is
delivering on a campaign promise. Now, that's the part where something like, what? That's terrible. No, New Yorkers voted for this and they're getting it. This is
getting to work. Okay.
Look
Filling
at her.
in them potholes,
Look at
taxing
her.
folks. You so riled up.
Doing it.
Are you the people that he's taxing? Because he's taxing people that have a second home worth $5 million.
See, that's the evil people she's talking about. That's the demons
In New York City that usually are not there for most of the year. So they leave it unoccupied, which might be an incentive for them to try to rent it out.
Worse is Robbie can't even deal with this. He has no idea. He hates it so much he's broken. He can't respond. She goes, it gives him incentive to rent out. See, now you have more rental, but prices come down. Taxes, they make it low.
Or create more economic flow in New York.
See, the lefty cares about economic flow. Look at that. She became Republican today. Look at that.
City. Instead
if they're not living there, they're probably renting it out.
No, they're parking their money.
They're not renting it out. Robbie doesn't know any better.
There, these things run unoccupied for the most part. And he's like, instead of using.
She's right. I know the companies. They literally use management companies to make sure the bills get paid, stuff gets swept up. Yeah.
NYC is a place to park your money and know that the real estate
it belongs to them. They own it.
The real estate will keep rising, so you benefit.
So, look at that. Okay, here we go.
New York, well, just pay your fair share of park your money taxes then.
Pay your fair share. That's your problem, Phil. You just don't want to pay your fair share. That's what she just said. Why do you hate fairness, Phil? Why do you hate fairness? Why do you hate it? I don't know why you hate it.
Basically, they're paying. This will cover so many things. Schools. Do you care about the police? You do. You don't want to defund.
See, she is wrecking Robbie, and she should wreck nobody. She's wrecking nobody. She's wrecking Robbie, and she's wrecking nobody. She's not talented. I don't mean to be mean, but she's just not. And he's falling apart.
This will fund them even more. This will fund services in the police department. This will fund parks.
Pay free childcare, which I utterly oppose.
This will fix those.
Look at him, man.
Budget gaps he's talking about. He started to cut things out that other mayors messed up royally. I think Mamdani is suggesting, first of all, he has a great personality, and he's suggesting a good idea. He's saying, like, listen, if you have your second home in New York and you are gaining income every time the prices go way up here, perhaps you can give a little back in taxes since New York you love so much. Love it. It wants you to love it back so that people can afford to live here that are not ultra wealthy and can't have the idea.
Yeah. See, Mike, you would have ripped her up. You got it. See, this is why Robbie so often disappoints me. If you were there, she'd have walked off because you'd have set her straight. Robbie can't. He doesn't know how. He wouldn't even do it. Yeah. Macron's going to rent his New York City penthouse to Jody and her 5 babies. Yes, that's not going to happen. You are correct. Absolutely. So, but see, Mike, according to her, it's going to lower the prices or whatever. Yeah, it's stupid suggestion, 100%. Yes, you're 100% correct.
$5 million home.
Not pay their fair share is this socialist progressive canard. It's not true.
And that's the problem. I'm going to stop it there because the rest doesn't matter. But he goes right to socialist canard. He goes right to what people who lean left won't even hear. You will move nobody with that argument. And my point is, I want to move people, and that takes vibes, that takes feelings, that takes charisma. It takes all those things that we need. And that's important. So I'm sorry I went so long on this. I just enjoyed it so much. I wanted to show you how that works. And again, it affects me because I'm sitting here running for governor, and I got Republicans telling me, we're going to beat him, Coach Mamdani. No, Mamdani's bad, but if you don't have an answer, you're not going to win. You have to have an answer. Not just that, Mamdani is getting wins. These are wins, not losses for him. Remember, the people who voted for him, they don't mind a tax the rich tax. That's fine. They don't mind a wealth tax. They're good with that. They're not mad. This is normal for them. They're totally okay with it. So, all right, I covered a whole bunch. Let me go back up and do the AMA. Hope that got us going, thinking about some cool stuff. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. Vivek says, will neocons control the Republican Party for the foreseeable, I think that's what it means, future? Maybe forcible also. And for Dems, can the progressives get the party back, or will continue to be the neoliberals? All right. Neocons are very powerful and have been for years. In fact, when Trump first came aboard, if you remember, a lot of neocons actually became Democrats. That was the thing. They just wanted to become Democrats because Democrats are neocons too. They just, again, have better rhetoric. So it sounds like they're not neocons. The neocons do, but it sounds like they're not, right? They have better rhetoric. So that's why when Trump actually won the first time, a lot of neocons thought, okay, we're going to become Democrat for a while. We'll come back later. And they were actually right. That's what happened. They left for a bit and then came back, or they kind of walked away for a bit. So neocons are very powerful. They have a long history in America, particularly since World War I. They have a lot of power, wealthy families. They're not going away. Now, can the Republican Party shift and adjust? Yes, it can. All parties can. It takes someone who is charismatic. Whatever you think about Trump, Trump absolutely is charismatic. It's funny. And 2016 Trump, totally charismatic, right? I know some of you didn't like him and you're mad at him. I get it. Again, same with Mamdani. You can not like Mamdani. He's still charismatic. So is Bill Clinton. So is Obama. So if the Republicans have the appropriate charismatic person, I think that person can help shape the Republican Party, but you're never going to get rid of neocons, at least not in the foreseeable future. They're going to be part of the party no matter what. They're part of the Democratic Party too. Now, the progressives in general have always been part of the Democratic Party, but since, I don't know, maybe the 80s or 90s, they've been basically shut down and kicked to the side. Generally speaking, they stay to the side, generally speaking. There are some exceptions, obviously, but generally speaking, they stay to the side. Once in a while, some guy pops up, like a Mamdani here or there, pops up and makes some noise. The problem is the progressives now are different. The progressives of the 70s, for those of you who remember that, who are old and remember that, the progressives of the 70s, they were much more about civil rights, freedom. They were much more libertine or moving towards left libertarians back in the 70s. They were much more moving towards that side. Now they're just socialists. So are the socialists going to take over? I think it's possible, but I don't think likely. At least not in the near future. In the near future, I think the establishment still wins. I think it still wins. Near future. That would be my gut. Vivek says, how do people like Tucker and MTG play into it? I think in general, they will just become their own brands, right? They'll become their own brands and they'll shift and adjust. The thing is, even though Tucker and MTG currently don't like Trump at all, it doesn't mean they're not Republicans. It doesn't mean they're not conservatives. They still are conservatives. They still are Republicans. They don't like Trump now. MTG is not going to all of a sudden become a Democrat. Neither is Tucker. Now, of course, the MAGA crowd is going to say, you're all Democrats now. That's MAGA propaganda. It's not true. They're not Democrats. They just currently hate Trump. And when they currently hate Trump, they will do things that will look like Democrats because they hate Trump. I get it. They're striking back, so it looks like they're being Democrats. And someone could say that if they want to, but they're not. Neither MTG, Tucker are not Democrats. They're not going to become Democrats. It's not a thing. Once the Trump era is over, whenever that is, if he keeps messing around, it's going to be soon, because he might get crushed in 2026. That might be the end of him. He might be gone by next January if things go horribly wrong. Or if he does great and he brings it all back, then it won't be till 2028 or maybe a little bit longer after that. If he's that popular and he can pick the 2028 person, it might be till 2032. But whenever that era is over, they'll come right back into the fold, right back in. That's what will happen. They'll be their own brand for a while. They'll come back into the fold whenever the Trump era ends, whenever that is, whether it's this year or 2 years from now or 6 years from now, whenever it is. So, all right. Mike says, if taxing the rich did anything more than Dems elected, more than get Dems elected in New York, would have a balanced budget. Sure, progressives salivate on the idea out of jealousy, but it helps no one. Yeah, but it's a similar piece, right? In that both sides are enjoying this. What I mean by that is the left can say, see, look, we're fighting Trump and the evil demons. They can do that. And Republicans can say, oh, we got to stop Mamdani and the socialists. They can both say that and actually do nothing. So they both kind of, they raise money off it. But yeah, no one's being helped by this, right? I'm sorry, except for the political elite class. They're being helped. So yes. Michael says, the thing is, Texas is turning into a, I think you mean police state, and New York State's already turning into a police state. yet the voters of both states have routinely put the same people in charge. I've been hearing, I mean, I don't know as much. I probably should do some more homework on Texas. I've been hearing some bad things about Texas in the last, couple of years. I don't know if it's true or not. The thing that people don't know is the Texas governor isn't very strong. The Texans made their governor not very strong on purpose. Their assembly is far more powerful than their governor is. That's true, just by the structure that Texas has. So I don't know. All right. All righty. All right, let me grab a couple more. Let's see. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to support the show, I always ask you if you can, please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please click the like button. It does matter. Every little click does matter. Every little piece does matter. Share and repost this if you would. Share it wherever you can. Post it wherever you can. Subscribe to this channel, whatever channel you're watching on. Please do so if you would. That would be amazing. I like that. But one of the things that socialism has is the idea of centralization. It's a common piece. In fact, most of what Mamdani speaks about is centralized control. That's a big piece of what he's talking about. So why would I say that? Because there is a place that I want you to go to read about that. Where would I want you to read about that? Well, it will be the Advocates for Self-Government. If you head over to the Advocates, you can head over to their decentralization piece, which is right. If you click on the Advocates, there's a link, as I think I've told you, in the description on both the Rumble and Facebook and YouTube. Click on that, then head over to the area here, which is their articles. And from articles, go to decentralization, and you will find this piece. It can work. It already has worked. Talking about areas in Ireland where you actually have had this happen in the past. How you can actually have decentralization. How you can actually have bottom-up laws. You can do it. It does exist, has existed in the past, and continues to exist. Can we fix it? Yes. Can we make it better? Yes. Read this article. It's a few minutes. When you're done reading it, grade it. Was it persuasive or not? I don't say what you want. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. Put what you want. Submit this and then share it. Read the article, grade it, share it. Why? I want people coming to the Advocates for Self-Government so we can read things like this and understand that life can be better without government. It can be. Less government can be good. People have to hear it, see it, believe it. How to do that? The Advocates for Self-Government. Come on over there. Check this out. It's important to do so. They are a sponsor of the show. It's free. You're helping the show out, and it's free. Read one of the articles. I like the ones on decentralization. I think they're pretty cool. Read it, grade it, share it. Do that. The Advocates for Self-Government. They are a sponsor of the show. All righty. So please keep doing it if you would. But there's something else, guys. If you look in the description of my page on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Rumble, what you will see is a buy me a coffee. Yes, if you want to tip me, you can with buy me a coffee if you want to. That's always a good time to do so. If you feel like it, like, this is a good show, I should buy a lot of coffee. You can, because here's my coffee right here. Also, by the way, same logo as my company, the Neosage. Right there. Here we go. There we go. It's my coffee cup. And this is my chipped water cup, which I cracked the other day, but I still use it anyway. So yes. So I drink both water and coffee often together. So I had a voice coach years ago who told me, Larry, you drink too much coffee, it's going to wreck your voice. To make up for it, you have to drink a lot more water. So often I will drink coffee and water together to make up for it, to keep my former voice coach happy. So there we go. Some interesting stuff for all of you to hear. All right. Don't forget, though, of course, button known as like. Okay, let me grab some more of these if I could. All right, Adirondack says, Bruce Blakeman's going to take Mamdani out somehow. He never explains how. Here's the part you'll hear about. Every time a Republican is running for governor in New York, they always have some way of doing something which is going to be symbolic only, which makes no sense. Zeldin had it. He was going to replace Alvin Bragg. All right, you might go, well, Larry, Alvin Bragg is a bad DA. For those of you who don't know, Alvin Bragg's DA of Manhattan, and he is a bad DA. That's true. But the people of Manhattan want him. They voted for him more than once. So why would you forcibly replace a DA in an area in Manhattan where they want him, number one? And that affects no one else in New York State. It's symbolic. It means nothing. Why would you do that? Because it's symbolic. It has no actual value. It's just, see, I'm going to get him. It's symbolic garbage. And it makes no one happy except other Republicans who think, yeah, we'll get him. And Zeldin loses. Well, Blakeman is the same thing. Now, Blakeman's going to now, his new thing is he's going to get rid of Mamdani. He's not replacing Mamdani. It's not a thing. Mamdani's far too popular. What you guys didn't hear, Mamdani's approval rating, 65%. Among Democrats, 48% overall. Yeah, he's doing just fine. You don't replace him. It's not a thing. And he's not going to win anyway, so it's irrelevant. But now he's also going to do this thing. He's going to pardon Eric Duran, who's a cop who was put in jail, I think wrongly convicted. He's going to pardon. That's the answer. Day one, pardon him. I'm not mad at pardoning him. I would do it too. Of course, I would do it too, right? Eric Duran was wrongly convicted. That's true. But that's not going to help a bunch of people. I'll do it. I'm going to pardon Dexter Taylor. Doing that too. But that's not going to help a bunch of people. That is symbolic. It's important. I'll do it. But I'm not running on that. I'm not running. I'm running on saving the state. In addition, I'll do the right things like pardon Eric Duran and like pardon Dexter Taylor. Of course I should. Of course I should. But that's not a gimmick for me. I don't run on that because it's not a gimmick, right? I talk about it when people ask because it's right. There's a difference. So yeah, he doesn't explain how. He doesn't care anyway. So yeah. All righty. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. Let me walk down some more of these roads. Shelley says, can we, the people who live outside New York City, tax Mamdani? Can we send them water, electricity? Why not a bill for it? I love that idea. Since we send them water, electricity, yeah. No, let me be very clear about something. What the real scary part about this is the beginning of taxing people who've left New York. Remember what she said. She said she wants people to come back to New York and pay the taxes for the people for her programs. True, it's what she wants. We know it's not going to happen. So what is she going to do? She's starting already. She's taxing people who's left. She's going to punish the people who have left. I'm not joking. What's the next step? I mentioned this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I forgot what podcast I was on, but I mentioned it and we see it happening already, which is she's going to tax people who's left. So about 40% of all of New York State's pensions go outside the state. People who've already left and retired in some other state. You're going to watch us like double and triple tax that. That's the next move. Next year, year after, whenever. That's the next move. The next move is going to say, oh, that pension that you're getting, I know you now live in Tennessee or Texas or Florida where there's no taxation. We're going to tax it again, and we're going to triple tax it before it leaves New York. So I know you were getting $2,000 a month. We're going to take $500 of that. You're getting $1,500 now. Done. Oh, you wanted full $2,000? Come back to New York. Yes. Retire in New York, because once you leave New York, you lose a chunk of your pension. That's what they're going to do. They're going to make it to where if you leave New York, your pension's like cut in half. It will be that bad. It'll be like 50%. Larry, how can you say that? You saw what they did with the death tax, the estate tax. 50% over $750,000 is the proposal. It will be when you leave New York State and retire someplace else, your pension is cut in half. That's going to happen. Now people are rethink, damn, if I leave now, I lose half my pension? I might stay now. That's how she'll force you into staying. That is how she will force you into staying. So horrible. All righty. Let me walk down a couple more of these. I'm glad you guys are going back and forth as always. Shelley says, so he's taxing his mommy. That's cute. That's cute. Michael's going to say, there is a reason no one ever did this before. Those luxuries drive hundreds, if not thousands of jobs and untold taxes. But the luxury is optional. Mamdani will drive them out with this, just like California. The next step will. The genius of this, Mike, is most people don't see this. This is actually going to work. I know you don't want to hear this. I know most people don't want to hear this. It's going to work. Why? Because at least half the people who own these things are foreigners. They actually live in like China or Russia or Brazil. They live someplace else, Mexico. They don't live here. So they just going to pay extra taxes. I'm sorry, a annual surcharge. It's not a tax, Mike. Annual surcharge, what they're going to pay. Now, right now, these guys pay anywhere, most of them pay somewhere like $50,000 to $100,000 every year in property tax anyway. Some pay like $200,000, $400,000 a year on property tax. I'm not joking. That's real for these kind of places. They're dropping six figures every year on property tax. This may increase it by $50,000 to $100,000. Now, for For the average person, that's outlandish. But for these people who literally have a secondary house worth $10 million they're rarely in, it's not going to stop them. It isn't. This is actually going to work because they need this either for fear to flee, as I was telling you about, right? If this is where I'm going to flee, if whatever, she or Putin gets mad at me or whatever, right? Lula gets mad at me and I got to run to New York, I'm not giving that up for extra $100,000 a year. I'm just not. I'm keeping it. Not just that. I want to be able to come here and meet people, talk, have events in my cool apartment here. So I'm not leaving. And I'm already dropping $100,000 a year on property tax anyway, maybe $150,000 on property tax anyway here. I have that kind of money, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing it, right? So that extra 50,000, 100,000, they're not going to leave. This is actually going to work. I hate to say it, it's going to work because of the people that they actually chose. This was actually, again, I don't like it. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying, the second I saw it, I was like, this is actually well done. I saw it for what it was. This is well done. Thought through, well done. I respect the game, even though I can't stand the policy. So Phil says, Larry, what do you think about Hochul saying we need billionaires to come back to pay for our social programs, then support this tax? They're already gone. This is perfect. They're already gone. They're coming back. This is perfect. They are doing it now. Now they're doing it. She said, don't come back. I'll just take it. She said, don't come back. I'll just take it. Stay there. I'll just take it. And the thing is, a lot of those billionaires who've left, they actually keep a home here. That's true. Because many people still see New York as a hub for many things. So they do want to have a place here. So many of them do. So if you're a billionaire, having a second, $10 million home in New York City, whatevs. You're a billionaire. You don't care. It's fine. I got to drop $200,000 now instead of $150,000 in property tax. I don't even know. I'm not paying attention. Many billionaires have what's called a family office. Now, so those of you who've spent time in the finance world, Mike I know knows what family office are. Some people don't. A family office is you have so much money, you literally can't handle it. I'm not joking. That's a real thing. So you hire people to take care of your money. That's called a family office. So when the Sharpe empire becomes so huge that I have billions of dollars that I don't know what to do with my money, I got so much of it, I'm going to hire people, maybe like Mike, you got financial experience, I'll bring him in too. They'll become part of my family office. And they will decide, how do I pay my taxes? Who are my vendors? What tax bracket will I be in? Who does my philanthropy? Who does my travel? Who takes care of my real estate? All those. So people literally are hired to do that. So these people have real estate people who they hire or companies who they work on, management companies to do these things. So they're going to figure it out and they're going to put it all in. It's just another $100,000 they're going to put someplace. So they're not going to leave. That this actually is going to work. Again, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying it's well done. It's well done. Andrea, she just says, great way to get people back. You don't have to. She's like, stay away. I'm taking your money anyway. I'm just going to take it. Stay, Illinois, Andrea. I'm just taking your money anyway. So easy. This is actually an easier plan. I'll just take it. You stay. I'll take your money anyway. Doesn't matter. So Shelley says, Hochul's claiming not to support Mamdani, but if we let her back in office, she'll be up his ass and around the corner saying, thank you, sir, ma'am. I'm not sure of that. A lot of people think that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how she's going to feel after she's elected. I could see her turning on him. I could see her doing it. I could. I don't know. I think how powerful are her people? And also the bad stuff that Mamdani is going to be doing in the city, we're not going to see the results for years, right? This is what most people don't see. And particularly if you're a Republican now in this state thinking, well, Mamdani is going to destroy the city. Not this year. Not this year. Whatever he's doing, you're not going to see it for at least 2-3 years. Well, the election's this year. So it doesn't matter. If he destroys the city in 2028, that's 2028. Hochul's already elected. Doesn't matter. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it doesn't matter. Timing here is the issue. So yeah. All right. Brandon says, hey, Larry, how's it going? Man, watching you from Canada near Hamilton. Oh, yes. Hold on. The Hamilton football team. Wildcats? Something cats, right? Something like that, right? Canadian football. Near Hamilton, I got family in Buffalo, Niagara Falls. Oh, good. I'm glad to see you. Glad you're watching. Yes. Let's see here. I walked down that road already. Brandon says, my plan to fix the economy, replace welfare with UBI, remove minimum wage, other points, regulations, remove tariffs. Well, I'm not a UBI fan, but I do understand your logic, because if you got rid of UBI, you wouldn't need a minimum wage. True. You wouldn't need points, regulations. True. You wouldn't need tariffs. True. I think you wouldn't need them because you'd have UBI. You wouldn't require them. I think that's true. The problem is you'd have to trust in UBI. That's the key point. I don't trust UBI. And I said before, if I trusted UBI, I think the other things are valid, right? If UBI would work, I don't think it will work. But if it were to work, you're correct. You wouldn't require the others. You're right. Who cares? Right? It's totally fine. And in theory, and this is only theory, this has not been in practice at all. In theory, if you had an actual UBI, for those who know, UBI is universal basic income, where the government just gives everybody money every month. In theory, again, I want to say again, theory, never happened ever. In theory, you would remove all bureaucracy. So you'd have a much smaller government. You would just be writing checks and that's it. Wouldn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are, where you live. It would just be a flat check every month. So all bureaucracy would go away. In theory, this has never been in practice ever. So I get your logic. I don't believe the UBI piece. I just don't. If I did, I'd be on board. I don't see it. I haven't understood how that would work. So Mike says, I bet it raises 50 million and the rest just tell her refuse. Huh. I don't think so. I think this works. I think it works. That's my gut, Mike. I'm going to say it. I think it works. I think the people who thought of this, whatever, they did a good job. This is exactly the right amount of squeeze. And along with spin, that works well. I think it does work. We're going to see. We'll find out in a couple of years who's right. I think this is going to work. Mike, at the second I heard, I'm like, damn, this is good. Like I knew it was a good plan for them, not good for me, obviously. So yeah, that's what I think. Mastermind says, Mrs. Now's first name is Karen. True. MS Now. Miss Now. That's true. Miss Karen Now. True. Yeah. Andrea says, the IRS gives me an annual surcharge as well. See, I'm not taxed. I'm surcharged. I feel way better about it now. See, now I feel good, Andrea. We all feel good now. We're not taxed. Yeah. In fact, I think when I'm governor, I will end all taxes and just make surcharges. There we go. Now we all feel better about losing all our money. Come on, you guys got to admit, Democrats got good rhetoric. The rhetoric's good. It's just good. It's good rhetoric. And it's obviously garbage, but man, it just feels better. They're good at this. This is one of their skill sets. It's true. Bronner says, AMA, I was wondering if you're familiar with Ashanti Alston. He was a Black Panther and anarchist. I am. How did I know about this guy? I forgot who told me about him. Years ago. But yes, is that more homework for me? Don't I got your other guy? Sec, I got him still? Oh, you guys don't give me homework. All right, anyway, Trace Jason is over on Rumble. He says, the problem with the tax-rich commies is they don't want a different solution to raising revenue. True. That's the point. Yes. And this goes back to the vibe check. Mike, I hope you're listening because Space is with me on this, right? It feels good to say I'm taxing the evil rich demons. It does. It feels good. See, I'm getting them. I'm beating them. And it feels good. Taxing the rich feels like I'm doing the right thing. That's how it feels. I'm not saying it is the right thing. It feels good. And vibes matter, particularly in politics. So he goes on to say, they like the idea of hurting evil. Yes, rich to cosplay as good Marxist. Space Station, yes, yes, and yes. Everything you just said is correct. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly right. It makes them feel good. And it does work. They do feel better. They do. They do feel better. It's true. Mastermind says, every law ever written was written to piss off a small minority of people. Why shouldn't it be the 1% term? Well, that's true. You know, that's actually valid. Yeah, why not? Rob V, thank you for the $5. Besides New York, what states do you think have the best chance to get a libertarian governor? smaller ones like Idaho. I would say a state like Idaho. Yeah. A state that's dominated by one side, but is changing, has to be changing. And Idaho is that. Idaho's a red state that's getting flooded with blue. People move from California, Colorado to Idaho. So I could see Idaho going libertarian because they won't, the Democrats won't want to vote for the Republican anymore at one point, and the Republicans never want to vote Democrat because they've been red for so long. So I could see a state like Idaho going libertarian. I could see that. I could see, can't say the ones that are all too tough. Maybe because of California's crazy, it's too big. So you can raise enough money. Their system could work for it. They have that terrible jungle primary thing, but no, it's too big of a state. Maybe, no, that's not going to work either. I feel like Idaho is the one that comes to top of mind. Trying to think of any place else. That's the one that comes to mind. Alaska. Idaho, Alaska. Yeah, maybe those two. Idaho and Alaska is what I would think might have a chance of being a libertarian governor. Yeah. Off chance, one more. Indiana. Okay, those are my three. Idaho, Indiana, Alaska. Highest chances. And of course, the biggest chance, New York. Take that, Rob. That's the biggest one. So yes. Okay, see if I can grab some of these if I can. Massman said, first thinking for the billionaires, but I said nothing because I'm working 50 hours a week to put gas in my car and food on the table. True. That's kind of it. Yes, you're kind of right. You're kind of right. See, Brunner got me with, I guess you got, I said Sec 3, right? Samuel E. Conklin. I'm going to put that in now too. This is your fault. You know, this is your fault, lunatic. Now I got extra homework. I got him too. All right. Putting it in too. I'm not doing nothing. I'm bored. I'm nothing to do. Not like I'm trying to run for office or anything. Not me. All right. Now I got 2 sets of homework. That's your fault, lunatic. All right. Phil says, but Larry, Blake has Trump's endorsement. That's worth at least 20 points in the governor's race. No, that's worth exactly 20 points. Literally 20 points. Literally, that's all it's worth. Exactly 20 points. Not 20 extra points. Just 20 points. That's all. Now, Missy can't do homework. She identifies as homework resistant. So you can't give her any homework. That's how that works. Okay. So guys, leave her alone. She can't do it. Okay. Shelly says, every time I see Morning Joe, I can't help seeing that he looks like a Muppet. It's not an insult. Muppets are great, but I can't not see it and laugh. It's not so cute. John says, rides a bike like Buttigieg. Like Buttigieg's hug SUV. Oh, yes, husband SUV drops him off 1 block from work, but probably doesn't even do that. Yeah, you're right. Sarah says, Larry, can you speak more about how libertarian policies can support Americans in supporting Davids instead of Goliaths? Davids cannot compete with prices, local self-sustaining communities. Yes, generally speaking, this is general. When you talk to most Democrats, Republicans, and you talk about things like, as an example, wealth gap. Most Republicans will say, wealth gap is fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep working. The free market, blah, blah, blah. They have no answer. That's what most Republicans will do. There are some that will, but the vast majority of Republicans just ignore the wealth gap. Don't think it's a matter, or will explain it away, or won't care about it, or will have no answer. That's the most common Republican answer. Democrat answer is force the rich to be poor, and then we get rid of wealth gap. Force taxation, force taxation, force taxation. So I have a bad answer or no answer. That's what usually you get when it comes to wealth gap. Almost no one talks about it except for guys like me and people on the left who are trying to make force and to punish people and tax the rich or whatever. So the actual answer is more opportunities for the people to start up. In the perfect world, and this is, I'm saying utopia. So let me give you what utopia is. In a perfect world, Goliaths are constantly collapsing because new Davids are constantly growing up to become Goliaths themselves, and then eventually collapsing too because they get too big and collapse in their own weight, and then new nimble things pop up, and knock them down. Now, that's not how the world actually works because of how our system, government intervention, all those things. So I understand that's not how it works. I'm saying that's utopia. Our goal, Sarah, must be to get as close to that as we can. And note the biggest thing that stops that keeps David's down and Goliath's up is government regulation and regulatory capture, things like that. Biggest piece, without question. The more you streamline, the more you remove, the more you actually allow and promote people coming up, small farmers, small businesses, all those, the more you do it, the more Goliaths who will naturally be knocked down. You might go, but Larry, that's losing jobs. True. But if you have many Davids and a Goliath falls, those jobs should sprinkle out to the Davids. And again, in utopia, it always works that way. It doesn't in reality. But when it goes close to that as possible, the more Davids we're growing, the less Goliaths we need, and less chance we care if they fall. Goliaths fall all the time. The question is there something to replace it? And we want to make sure that we have tons of Davids to replace it. So things I mentioned, some of my policies I bring up all the time, which is if you agree to sell only within New York State, you are immune from federal regulatory bodies. That gives a small advantage to the little guy selling locally. The big guy has big advantage already. He has all types of advantages because he's so big. The little guy now has a small advantage in that. You start doing things like that, right? I talk about the idea of hiring felons. If you hire felons, and I was talking about the idea if you have less than 50 employees and half of them or more are felons, you pay no payroll tax. If you're to pay no payroll tax, for those who don't know, if I'm paying someone $18 an hour, I could easily be paying $12, $13, $14 in payroll tax. So the company is actually paying $32 an hour, even though the person is getting 18. Well, if I can remove payroll tax and cut it down tremendously, well, the company can, instead of paying 32, can just pay that guy 22, 24. The company makes money. He makes money. What does that mean? Well, now you can pay your employees more compared to the big guys. So you have an advantage in gathering talent. So you can find other ways of making that happen. And any one of those is not enough. One of them is not enough. Just one, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Changing our insurance, right? Policies here in New York State. Right now in New York State, if you, for workers' comp, you have to pay for workers' comp for people who have problems on and off the job. That's insane. On the job, of course. Off the job? Why? You do something stupid off the job, that's on you. That's not me. I'm paying you for the work. So when you're at work, something happens, I got to pay. I got it. I'm paying you to do stuff. I got to pay. You decide to jump off a cliff, on Saturday one day. That's on you. That's not on me. But in New York State, it is on me. Not just that. In New York State, we're no fault for insurance, which means I'm a drunk driver. I crash into your car. It's completely my fault. You did nothing wrong. Your insurance must pay. Why? Because New York. So change a lot of those little things for smaller businesses, and you'll find they have more advantages. Overall, that's how you start helping out, right? Yet on top of that, be able to keep more money locally again and again and again. Why does money locally matter? Because if I'm a large organization, I can lobby in Albany very easily. So I can get taxpayer money. I can get taxpayer handouts. I can get them very easily. The local people, they don't have the cash or the experience to go to Albany and lobby. Big boys do. Well, if more money is local, I know more people locally, I can lobby effectively, just keep the money locally. So again, I gave you about 4 or 5 different things. And to make it fair, you have to do 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 different things. One thing is not enough. Hope that answers your question. All righty. Let's see here. Brandon says, Treasury official means a pro is stealing your money. True. True. Mike says, how in the hell does a $20 million apartment in Manhattan make a studio in the Bronx more expensive? Chairman Xi has let his nephew live on East Tremont next to Little Gangs. See, Mike lives in the city with me. He gets it. He gets it completely. Exactly. It's garbage. It sounds good. It's complete garbage. None of it's true. Yeah. None of it's true. There we go. There we go. Mike jumps on. He got mad. I knew I'd trigger him on that one. I knew I would. He goes, definitely not one of mine. His wife beat all the conservatism out of him decades ago. Yeah. You're not wrong. That yeah. If he had any in him, it's gone. He is, I wonder if he actually still is a registered Republican. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was at one point in his life a registered Republican. I bet he's not anymore. That'd be I don't know. That'd be my guess. Sarah says, I feel like the wealth grab after the 2008 recession has set us on a course of no return towards globalism and more power in the hands of a few. Socialism isn't the answer. I'm glad you bring this up, Sarah. This is a very important point. 2001 affected us heavily. 2008 was crushing. The lockdowns were devastating. The wealth grab of 2008 was horrible. And the wealth grab of the lockdowns was even worse. Again, both supported and spurred on by the government. Both cases spurred on by the government. Both cases. You're right. After 2008, there was no real recovery across our country except in cities. I brought us that many times. After 2008, 80% of all new jobs were in 20 U.S. cities. Urbanization, people become more left because of urbanization, bigger cities. And then you bring them all into cities. And then in 2020, 2021, during the lockdowns, you say, why are you in a city now? And you lock them all down. And you make a massive shift from small to big, a massive shift from decentralized to centralized in every way, shape, and form. You are correct. It was terrible. And the problem is, and as I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it, I'm not going to stop. Socialism, you're right, isn't the answer. But here's the problem. It is an answer. What's the other answer? That's the problem. Once again, bad answer, no answer. We'll take bad answer. So socialism isn't the answer, but it is a answer. It's a bad one, but it's an answer. So if you don't have something else, we're going there. And here's the worst part. When things get really bad, people beg for a strongman. And that strongman will either be a right-leaning strongman or a left-leaning strongman, but it will be a strongman. And while people will say, well, socialism and fascism are different. Well, it's true. They are different, but they end the same way. They end the same way. Dictatorship. They end exactly the same way. So it doesn't matter. It's a different way of getting there, or a different one. Like socialism sounds nice. Fascism sounds mean, but they go to the same thing. They're two separate roads, but they go right to the same spot. Dictatorship. Absolutely true. So thank you for that. I'm gonna grab a couple more of these here. Rob, thank you for the $5. I really believe the expansion of the two-party system is getting more third-party people in office is the only way that we will get out of this, Larry. Yes. I'm going to be very clear about something. Very clear. If we don't get ballot access in New York State this year, the ball game may be over. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. New York State is the hardest state to get ballot access in. I'm not just making that up or saying it because it's good for me. It's true. And let me give you my evidence. I'm just making this up. In 2024, New York State was the only state in the entire union that had no independent candidate on the ballot for president. The only one. Nothing, not one person. Many states had 6, 7, or 8. None. Not one. And there's no movement in New York State to change the laws. None. This year, governor, right? In New York State, to be a party, you have to either do a governor and or a presidential race. In New York State, you must produce a national candidate to be a statewide party. How is that at all constitution, real, anything? My judges in my state don't care at all. They're purposely destroying everything. They don't care. They don't. Republican Party doesn't care. Democrats don't care. Nobody cares. But that's true. Why does this matter so much? Kennedy, who was a Kennedy and spent $1 million, could not get in the ballot. Lee Zeldin, who was the sitting congressman in Long Island, he was a sitting congressman. He was the Republican nominee at the time. He couldn't do it. I did it before. I couldn't do it. It is virtually impossible. If anyone can do it, it's me this year. That's it. If I cannot do it, it cannot be done. I wish I was making that up. Evidence is clear. Since the new rules, nobody in a statewide election who's an independent, who's been challenged in a ballot access race, has been able to get on the ballot. Nobody. Not me, can't anybody. And this year, Libertarians, Greens, Libertarians, Greens, Constitution Party are not even fielding candidates. There's no candidate. Not even fielding candidates. There isn't one. They won't even try. They won't even bother. Why? You can't. It will cost you millions of dollars. Larry, what makes you so special? I'm going to tell you what makes me special. I'm good looking. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm good looking. That I'm not kidding about. But that isn't why I'm special. The reality of it is I am the only person who has won under the old rules, meaning won ballot access under the old rules, lost under the new rules, and is now running now. I'm the only person in the entire country who has standing to go to court. No one else does. I'm the only person who can do it. So not just that, I'm the only person who was running for office, who's independent, who polls as high as I poll. I poll at 8% across the state. No one else does that. I'm the only one. If I cannot do it, no one can. Why does that matter? Because to be a movement in this nation, your political party must have 50 state ballot access. If it doesn't, people will not join. They just won't. They won't do it. If you don't have 50 state ballot access, they will not join. The media will ignore them. People will not give money. You're not a real party. No one understands that. New York State is what stops it. New York State is single-handedly destroying any chance of an independent party ever in this nation, ever again. I'm not joking. Ever again. Well, Larry, some billionaire. What are you talking about, some billionaire? Ballot access, just to get on the ballot, is going to cost at least $30 million. I'm not joking. Kennedy spent $20 million and couldn't do it. It will cost at least 30. Who is going to spend $30 million just to get? That's not a Facebook ad. That's not a consultant. That's not making a YouTube page. Nothing. That is just to be able to be on the ballot, and you do it 2 years in advance. Start 2 years in advance to do it. What billionaire is going to do that? What billionaire is going to go, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to gamble $35 million to get on a ballot, which I probably won't even get because there'll be some technicality that'll throw me off. So I won't get it. And I'm going to start 2 years early. No one's going to do it. It's over. The duopoly is locked in forever if I don't get on the ballot this year. That's not an exaggeration. There's no joke. That's real. Because once these laws become locked in stone, they're never going away. Libertarian Party was at its peak in 2016. And some of you don't like it. I don't care. It was at its peak. This was Gary Johnson, 2016. In 2016, Libertarian Party had 50 state ballot access. Yes, it did. 50 state ballot access. What did that do? It actually got us 2 former governors for presidential candidates. We had never had that kind of firepower, I guess you would say. We got 4.5 million votes that year. Highest we ever got. 4.5 million votes. We raised $11 million. Highest we'd ever raised. We got a little more than 3% of the vote. Highest we'd ever gotten. Ever. We've never matched it since. And we haven't had 50 state ballot access either. And no one else does. Libertarian Party in the country is the 3rd largest party in the country. And if it doesn't have 50 state ballot access, no one will, except for the 2 parties. That's it. So you're correct. And we need to get on there. All righty. Mrs. Azarek, thank you for $20. Hey, Larry, when you planning to come to Western New York anytime soon? I had to work the last few times you were here. I know I'm there all the time. Guys, I'm not doing much traveling these next couple of weeks. I'm focusing only on raising money and getting signatures. That's what I'm focusing on. Those 2 things. I'm not doing much traveling at all. I won't be traveling for at least another 3 weeks. I know usually I travel a lot. I travel at least no tomorrow. I need to focus on the only thing that matters, which is me getting on the ballot. Nothing else matters as much as that. If I don't get in the ballot, all the rest is garbage. So I will be coming back out there probably after a while later after we're done getting on the ballot. And that will be about 5 more weeks. So it'll be a while before I'm traveling again, but I need to get on the ballot. It's critical. Thank you. Ryan says, so Mamdani's not getting impeached? Yeah, no way. Not now at least. Maybe 3 years from now. Not today. That's for sure. Not today. So guys, thank you for all that. I appreciate it as always. Again, as I always tell you, click the button known as like. Please make sure you share this. I know I bug you. Also subscribe to the channel if you would. If you haven't done so, check to see if you're subscribed. you might not be subscribed. Sometimes you are not subscribed. Look, Mamdani's popular in the city. Cities are challenging. They're absolutely challenging. They absolutely are. But there is an advantage. There are lots of people talking about cities, new places, new cities. There's a place you can check it out. What do you think it is? It's always civil. Yes, it is civil. There's a very special, there's a very special show on civil, and it's talking specifically about building cities of the future. Literally, it's called Building Cities of the Future. It's called. Head over to Civil, check it out, civl.com. Code is Larry10. Larry, the coolest name on the internet, plus 10 for 10% off. And what's cool about this, it talks about two separate cities, how they're trying to grow now, and not the normal way, a way to where you can have real property rights, where you can have real bottom-up growth, where you can have not governance that is top-down, and it's working.
And it seemed like from a distant future. This is the coolest thing in the world.
Coolest.
Roatan is a very special island. It's part of Honduras, obviously, but it's a tourist island. So it has 100,000 people living here, but it has 1.2 million visitors per year.
Prospera is a physical place. It's actually in a gorgeous tropical paradise. There's all sorts of tech around. Everyone's transacting in crypto, but
buying and selling in crypto, all those things. Guys, it's a very interesting documentary. Check it out. The series is actually fun. It's a big series on it. Please enjoy it. Pop on, check it out at Civil, civl.com. Good ideas on how to make things work. Again, not, and I will keep saying this, but I got to keep saying it. It's not with the left is right, the right is right. It is real data, real back and forth, real conversations. We are upgrading civilization on civil.com, civl.com. They are a sponsor of the show. Heading over there. Every single time I do a show, I got something cool to show you regarding what I'm talking about. Why? Because Civil's got all the cool goods. It just does. Check them out. They're a sponsor of the show. So, guys, thank you for that. I do appreciate that. All right. Let me grab this again if I can. I put that up. Awesome. And I put that up. Awesome. Covering everything I gotta do. Phil says, Ro Khanna was good in Epstein files and opposition to war. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's the thing I like about Ro. He's far too left for me. But I do think he tries to stand up for what he thinks is right more than most Democrats. I think that's true. So, yeah, I give people credit where credit is due. Absolutely. Brennan says, have you spoken to Spike Coleman? I have, and I got to hit to him again. I'm going to, we're going to be doing a fundraiser for the campaign coming up here. And I'm going to try to get Spike to show up on that. It'll be coming up here soon. The 29th, I think we're having it. I'm going to cover it in a minute. I got some more phone calls I got to make. People bugging me about it. I got to make some phone calls. I will. We'll be setting up. We'll be talking about it soon. The money bomb is coming. Check it out. So Brendan says, ever meet Gary Johnson? I love the governor. Met him more than once. Supported him in 2012, 2016. I know him. He's been on my show a couple of times. My daughter met him. Yeah. I'll tell you an interesting story. But there are many reasons why I like Gary Johnson. Many. But I'll give you a good story, Brendan. It's 2016. And I've been supporting Gary Johnson for 4 years then. So I told him in 2016 he's going to run for president again. I want to be his vice president. I tell him that. I have lunch with him at a diner in Manhattan. My daughter Barbara was with me at the time. We sat together, and we had lunch. And I said, I want to be your vice president candidate. He said, Larry, I don't want you to be. I went, okay. And I always called him governor. And I said, Governor, if you want me to not run, I won't run. Just you tell me I won't do it. I won't do it. He said, no, Larry, you should run. You'll raise the bar. That's the kind of man Gary Johnson is. Gary Johnson could have said, Larry, don't run. I don't want you running because I want somebody else. He didn't. He said, Larry, run. You'll raise the bar. And I did, by the way, run and also raise the bar. But he was more concerned about that. So whether you liked Gary Johnson or not, he's a good man. He'd been a better president than anybody else I know. So I've been happy if he was. So yes. And I was his surrogate in the media many times. What would happen is because I lived in New York City, he'd be traveling the country. They would need someone to be on some local TV station or something in the metro area. They would call me up and go, Larry, show up for Gary Johnson. So I'd show up in Connecticut. I'd show up in DC. He'd call me up and be like, Larry, I need you to head down to DC tomorrow. For what? I need you to raise money for me for X, Y, and Z. Okay, I cancel my day because I'm a consultant. So I cancel my day and just take the train down to DC, raise money for him, and then come back up to New York. So that was it. So yes, that's what I did, 100%. D says, Larry, thoughts on Thomas Massie, Lauren Boebert, and Tim Burchett voting no on the FISA bill? Of course. Of course. Look, Boebert has decided to be her own person more, and I think that's great. Good for her, right? MTG, more their own person. Good for them. Good. Let them be their own person. Nothing wrong with it at all. Good. Thomas Massie, totally on brand. Not surprised at all, as they should. Makes total sense. Rona says, hey, I hate fairness, Larry. It rarely ends up fair from my vantage point. Yes, fairness is how I see things as being fair. Yes, it's how I see things as being fair. That's what matters. So Adam says, get signatures this weekend. Also, has Larry sent out campaign material yet? Signatures, yes, this weekend. I'm supposed to have campaign material up on the website today. I don't know if it is yet, but if it isn't, it will be up soon. So yes, we're going to have some downloadable stuff on the website coming up here. We just put some simple stuff together. We're going to have more. So we're going to have some up there. So yeah, we will have some up there. So we don't have it yet, but we will. Maybe we have it now. Adam, I have so much stuff to do. I can't watch everything, but we're supposed to. So if not now, soon. There we go. If not now, soon. All righty. Adam goes on to say, neocons will lose for at least 2 cycles. They're kind of winning now. So I guess we'll see. I hope you're right. But yeah. Miss says, ask Larry, how many signatures do you need to get on the ballot with your Larry Sharpe for governor campaign? Yes, I need, legally, I need 45,000 good signatures, which means in practice, I need 60,000. That's a lot. That means I got to start knocking out like 10,000 per weekend. That's a lot. Now, we do have a bunch of people rocking and rolling. Nate Gable is, he's actually running the petitioning efforts right now across the state. We're still raising money to find a vendor to help out too. If we can get a vendor plus that, we can get something going. You guys know Shannon Joy is getting people up to help out also. The more people we get going, the better off we get. So yes, that's what it takes. So Brona says, they're all neocons and neocons are all socialists, just different flavor of socialism. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's good. All righty. Adam says, so what's this talk about solar panels taking over farmland on New York State? Is it really that impactful? Yes, it is. There are people who are fighting it. One of the people I talk about often is Alex Fasullo. She's been talking about it. I'm not by default against solar panels. I'm not. I'm against the government subsidizing, forcing, and basically making it to a situation to whether you have no choice but to have them on your land. If you honestly think that solar panels are good for your house or your land or something, and the government isn't subsidizing it, and you can make money from it, and you think it's the right answer, good for you. I'm not mad at you for it if you want to do it. The problem is that's not what's happening. What's happening is there's a system where the government forces and or coerces you into doing it, and that's what I'm against. That's the problem. And then you get stuck with it at the end. It's nothing but bad. So yes. G Husky says, Larry, I've no desire to go to New York City because it's a communist cesspool. The congestion fees suck. Why don't you move upstate? You would save some money. I have thought about it. Right? I've thought about it more than once. I have, but I'm still a city guy. And I go back to it. Someone's got to be in the front line. Someone's got to fight this thing. I think that person's got to be me. There's no one else to do it. So, yeah, that's why I'm staying. You should, though, visit New York City. It's a great place to visit. It just is. Anything you like, you can find in New York City. It's a great place to visit. You probably don't want to live here. I don't know if I want to live here. But you probably should visit. It's a great place to visit. I will say it always. I like it. So, all righty. Ryan says, meanwhile, in Missouri, we might get rid of state income tax in November. I think we could actually have we could remove the income tax in New York State over the course of 8 years. We could do it. Over 8 years, you drop it 0.5% for 8 years down to 0. You could do it. It could be done. The problem is our budget is so high and we have so much debt. You have to wean it off. Otherwise, no. So, Danny in the house, when was the last time we had a balanced budget? Officially, it was Bill Clinton. But depends how you put that math together. But you could say Bill Clinton. That's the last time. So that would be what, 30 years ago, give or take? About 30 years ago. But again, that's depends on how you do the math. So yeah, that's okay. Even if you disagree with that as the math, it's the closest we've ever had. That's for sure. That's true. It's the closest no matter what. But you could say it was a balanced budget. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Mike says, depends on what part of Texas. Massive inflow of California Dems to Austin. This is true. There's been a massive influx into cities, right? People often say, well, these guys are coming from California and then are going to Texas. So it's turning Texas red because the red people are leaving. Some red people are leaving. That's true. But also they're going into cities. So that's a difference. So yeah. John says, and in VA, Spamberger ran on affordability, was left with a sizable budget surplus by the Republican, and has raised every tax and created several new taxes. Of course. She won. She did what she wants. Yes. Brona says, scam booger is turning Virginia into NYC. Yeah, well, because Northern Virginia is turning Virginia blue. You know that, Brona. Northern Virginia is turning Virginia blue. Northern Virginia is basically just DC. Right? So yeah, I think that's the big deal. Little Frog says, watching Morning Joe makes me say, what happens to those rich royal Arab families with houses? Do they get a Jizra? No, I don't think so. I'm missing something, aren't I? Okay, maybe. All righty. Let me grab a couple more of these. So many. Massmanow says, sometimes I put water in my coffee pot, as you probably should. He says, Larry runs on coffee. It's true. I have a lot of it. If you are a Mormon, I am not sober because I take caffeine. But if you're not a Mormon, I'm sober. It's the only drug I use. But I do use lots of it. I have a minimum of 3 of these a day. Minimum. Often I have 4 or 5, but at least 3 a day. Even at night. And I still sleep. It doesn't matter. So, yes. Johnson said, there was a full-page ad for Blakeman in my little local shopper. How can I add for Larry? You can easily. Yeah, let me know how we can do it. We'll make it happen. Happy to have it. Happy to have it. Mike says, but Blakeman doesn't know who Dexter Taylor is because there's no current poll or news on it. Blakeman's playing headlines to hide the Assembly plan of New York. This is a very valid point. And this is my point that I'm bringing up, and you are sharpening, Mike, which is he just saw one of his advisors said, hey, there's a cop thing and you say you're law and order. So jump on it, Mr. Law and Order. That's what happened. He went, yeah, we're going to pardon this guy. He doesn't even know the Eric case. He doesn't know Durant's case. Like you and I know the case. He doesn't know the case. Blakeman doesn't even know the case. His consultant told him about it and said, do it. He went, okay, that's what happened. You and I know Dexter Taylor's case. We actually know Dexter Taylor, right? I don't know the cop Durant. It's Eric Durant, right? I don't actually know Eric Durant personally. So I don't know him personally. But I know the whole story. And of course I'd pardon him. Of course I would. For those who don't know, the issue is, and it is a bit controversial, but to me, when you look at the options, it seems obvious. Eric Durant was an undercover cop, and he's doing his job with something. I forgot what was the. It was a arrest or a bus going wrong, right? I forgot the details, but that's happening. And a guy decided to take off on a bike, leave. Now, according to New York police policy, you can, as a police officer, try to stop a assailant or a suspect from fleeing. You absolutely can do so. That is totally part of what you can do. No worries. You cannot use deadly force unless there is imminent threat. That's the policy, right? So Eric has this thing happening. Stuff is going on. Everything's, the bus is going wrong. A guy, I think it's in a bike or motorcycle, one or two, and is taking and fleeing. Now, Eric has his firearm. He could have drawn his firearm. He could have yelled, screamed, shot, anything. He didn't. There was a cooler nearby, like a cooler where you put like stuff like to keep things cool. He grabs it and chucks it. Hits the guy falls down, dies. All right. Tragedy. The guy didn't deserve to die for fleeing. He did not deserve it. I don't want anyone to die. I wish the guy didn't die. And I'm just being very forward. I'm going to be very clear about that. It is a tragedy the guy died. Shouldn't have happened. And not his fault. Both of those are true. He threw a cooler at a guy. How would you know throwing a cooler at someone is going to kill them? When we were kids, me and Mike threw all kind of stuff at each other. Bigger than coolers. Neither one of us died. So how would you know that? And the thing is, did he know that throwing the cooler was going to kill the guy? If he knew that, okay, I could see the conviction. He didn't know that. There's nobody would know that. And it's split second. Guy's running, the bus is going wrong, picks up a cooler, chucks it, hits the guy, he falls down, dies. Not his fault. He got convicted of manslaughter. I think he did 7 years, Mike? Something like that. I think that's 7 years. Anyway, bogus conviction. Should have never happened. The cop could have done something far worse, chose not to. Chose to do something that, generally speaking, wouldn't have been. He would have hit the cooler, guy falls off the bike. You arrest him, no harm, no foul. That's what should have happened. And normally probably would have happened. He got insanely unlucky. In fact, so did the guy who died. That guy should, again, I want to be very clear. That guy should not have died. And not Duran's fault. That was a freak accident. That's all it was. So most people don't know this, but it's true. So thank you for bringing it up, Mike. You are absolutely correct. That is what happened. Okay. Oh, let me keep going down this road. I think I'm falling. I'm trying to catch up. I know I'm behind. So I'm going to try to keep going. Phil says, Larry needs a luxury compound in Little Falls. Little Falls is nice. I wouldn't mind having that. It is nice. Adirondack Campaign says, no new taxes. In Office says, no new taxes. Cute. Like that. Like that. Brandon says, cut Hochul and Mamdani salaries and fire some workers. You reduce taxes for everyone. They're not that high. They're not that high. Right? There we go. Tiger Cats. There we go. Hamilton Tiger Cats. Thank you. I'd forgotten, Brandon. Yes, Tiger Cats. There we go. Yes. T-Cats. There we go. Hamilton Tiger Cats. Yes. I remember. I used to watch a lot of, back in the day, I used to watch a lot of Canadian football. So I'm trying to remember that. Yes. And you guys don't you have two sets of Rough Riders? Right? Like two, at least you used to. The Canadian Football League used to have two separate teams, both called Rough Riders. Kind of weird, but yeah. I do remember that. All right, let's see here. Adirang says, UBI supported population will be very docile. One step closer to matrix pods. Maybe. It depends on what you feed them with, right? If you add on things like drugs and such, then probably, yeah. But maybe not. That maybe not. So, okay. Bronner says, what do Black Panthers do? Well, they feed hungry children for one thing. They used to. The new Black Panthers, not so much. The old ones did. The 60s Black Panthers had to be destroyed because they were, for those who don't know, the 60s Black Panthers had to be destroyed by the government. And they were literally, their leadership was, again, literally murdered by the government. That's not a thing I'm making up. Documented fact. The leadership of the Black Panthers in the 60s was murdered by the federal government. That actually is true. Why? The Black Panthers of the 60s were actually trying to create sustainable Black communities without the government handouts. They were against the welfare state. They were against the new, what did he call it again? Oh God, what, I forgot what horrible thing Lyndon Johnson called it. Whatever he called it. I forgot what he called it. It wasn't the New Deal. That was the other terrible one, FDR. Whatever his thing was, they were against all these programs. They wanted Black families and Black communities to support themselves. That's what they wanted. And the federal government was like, no, you will be dependent upon us no matter what you do. So we will just murder you. And I'm not joking, they did. That's the origins, by the way, of gun control. The modern day gun control is getting rid of guns out of the hands of Black families and the Black communities in the Black Panthers. So yes, absolutely true. Nico Wabbit says, we have to deal with taxes rates rising every time we get something new. The Bill Stadium, yep. That enrich the rich. It's about time they learn a lesson for finding ways around paying their fair share. I wish they would. Yes. Brennan says, could New Jersey be libertarian in Pennsylvania? No. The two parties are far too entrenched, and it's still going back and forth. It's still going back and forth. In Pennsylvania is still a real swing state. New Jersey isn't, but it's on the cusp. New Jersey's on the cusp of becoming New York. It's not there yet. It's on the cusp because what most people don't know is most people who would vote red they leave New York State, right? But a place that they often stop at is Jersey. It's a common thing. They go to Jersey first, realize Jersey's getting terrible, then they go to Florida. It's a common thing. So yeah. Mike has bad knees. Says, I'm actually surprised there hasn't already been a libertarian governor in Alaska. Seems like the perfect state. I agree. That's why I thought Alaska. Yeah. Grace says, I thought of you today. Cincinnati's leftist city council was wanting to disarm citizens. Black neighborhoods are upset, and I hope we'll organize. Ohio Libertarian needs to get on this, but won't. I felt your pain. I know. The problem is the Libertarian Party is broken. It's broken. That's the problem. It's broken. So we just have to keep going. The answer is always ballot access. It's always ballot access. It's the answer. So, all right. Adirondack says, AMA, National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Award all electoral votes to the winner of the National Popular Vote. Isn't this the end of elections? Yeah, for those who don't know, it was did Virginia just do it? I forgot which one did it. I think it was Virginia who just did it. What that means is the state agrees that it's electoral vote. Remember, for those who don't know, we don't vote directly for the president. It's not a thing. We don't vote directly for the president. We vote for electors. The state then sends electors. Those electors go to electoral college and they vote for the president. That's how that works right now. So in theory, not in practice, it has happened a couple times, very rarely. In theory, the electors could go to the DC and not vote for the person you want them to. Some states have laws. They're called bound electors, which means that the elector is legally bound and they must vote for whoever won the state. But if your state doesn't have that law, those electors are not bound. They can vote for whoever they want. They can walk down and go, no, I'm going to vote for Larry Sharpe. They can do what they want to. It does happen very rarely, once in a while, like every 40 years or something, one elector goes, I'm going to vote for this guy. It does happen. It's just insanely rare. So what this does is, since we don't vote directly for the president, we vote for electors, this concept says whoever won the popular vote, the state automatically gives all its electors to whoever won the popular vote, regardless of who the state voted for. This is a backdoor entry way to getting to popular vote in America. It's how you get around the Constitution. The Constitution says, no, you don't do that. So you have to have an amendment to the Constitution to say the president is elected by popular vote. The president isn't, which is why you can win the popular vote and still lose the election, a la Hillary Clinton 2016. But you can also win both, which Trump did in 2024. He won both popular vote and electoral college. You won both. So this is a backdoor way of getting in to say, oh, it doesn't matter, because then whoever wins the popular vote, every state automatically sends all its voters for that person, regardless of whoever the state voted for. That would by default mean the popular vote decides the election. Now, what should happen at Adirondack is, if we want that as Americans, if we do, then what do? We then pass an amendment to the Constitution and say, you know what? This is what happens now. Now the president's elected by popular vote. That is the way to do it. This is a back end way of doing it. I hope that makes sense for everybody. So yeah, my personal opinion on this, I don't want to go to popular vote because I think it changes how people care about each state. What I would like to do is to follow a model similar to Nebraska and Maine, to where each state breaks up their popular vote in some way. So as an example, say in New York State, we have, I think, 27, is that right, electoral votes? I think 27. So maybe do something like, as an example, you cut the votes in half. So 13 and 14, and the 14 is cut in half. So, sorry, the 14 is there, and then the other half. Sorry, so 13 and 14. So 13 goes to whoever wins. Period. Whoever wins gets the 13. 14 is broken up by percentage. So if the Republican loses by, gets 30%, and Democrats get 60%, whatever, then it's 2-1. So the Republican could get some part of the votes from New York. The most lion's share would go to the Democrats because Democrat won. It's fine. But the Republican gets something. There's some representation of the minor party or parties. If you had some minor representation of the party or parties, there's a reason to go run there. What do I mean by that? Right now, why would a Democrat who's running for president, why would they campaign in New York? Only one reason: raise money in New York City. Otherwise, why? They're going to win it. Why would a Republican come here? Raise money in New York. Otherwise, why would it come? They're going to lose it. And that's what you see. Presidential candidates don't travel across New York State. Why would they? If you're a Democrat, you go to New York for a fundraiser in someone's pied-a-terre, which will not be taxed, right? You go there to raise money, and then you leave. You don't win a state. If you're a Republican, why do you come here? To raise money in New York City, or you leave. Otherwise, you don't come here. But what if Republicans could get a chunk? So depending upon how much, they get a chunk. Not a huge chunk, but something. You get something out of this, you might show up. Democrats would want to crush the Republican here to make sure he gets nothing, and Republicans would show up to get anything. So you might change. You would get people to go to every state and care, send surrogates, show up, spend money, all those things. You make that happen. Each state would matter. So I think we break my opinion. States do what they want. My opinion is states should, not must, should, in my view, break the electoral votes up, similar to Nebraska style or Maine style, or something like that, whatever, but break it up in some way, shape, or form. I think that's a stronger way of doing it. You keep electoral college, you break it up, and more people get to go to different places. So, yeah. Grace says, could you build a coalition with Curtis Lewa? Sure, but Curtis isn't really talking to people that much. I saw him a couple of weeks ago at an event. I hung out with him for a few minutes at a St. Patty's Day event about 3 weeks ago. So, yeah. All right. Brona says, I enjoyed discussing gardening with you all the other night. I wish the show would have run a bit longer. Generally speaking, when I have a guest on, I have a shorter show because the guests don't often have that much time. So I do about 45 minutes when it comes to a guest. If it's me yapping, I can talk forever. So yes. Lars Maps in the house. Wealth taxes, hate speech. It's inciting violence. CEOs getting targeted and buildings being burned. Those that are pushing classism are responsible for violence. This is another valid point. This is the piece that I think is horribly gangster that he brings up. If you look at what Mamdani did, he literally mentioned the guy by name. That's gangster right there. That is. I think that's a bridge too far. I wouldn't have gone there. You mentioned the guy by name. You just said he's a bad guy, target him. I can't stand that. I completely agree. I think class warfare feels good. Say, I'm getting the big evil guy. Feels good, but it doesn't help. And it actually makes people who are wealthy go deeper into their catacombs. They go deeper into their castles. They become completely out of touch. It makes everything worse. If anything, I want my wealthy people more hanging out with the people, understanding them better, having some empathy for them. But if we begin to make it to where they're all scared and they go into their castles, they're never going to understand us. Not wrong. Phil, thank you for $2. The Great Society. Thank you. Great Society. Yes. He was going to make the Great Society. That shit did not work, Phil, in case you didn't know. The Great Society did not work. Absolutely. Duke of X says, hey, Larry, what are the chances that if the Republicans lose the House and Senate, the Dems charge Trump with a new set of crimes? Here's what's going to happen. One of two things. Trump is going to pull a miracle out of his ass this summer and make a great plan and make everything go great with Iran. Right now, that's up in the air. I know people are going to tell you, Democrats, oh, he's finished. Republicans, oh, he's awesome. It's up in the air. They're both counting their chickens before they're hatched. It is not clear if this is going to work out well in the long run at all yet. It could be great. It could be horrible. He is rolling the dice like there's no tomorrow. So I'm not, again, most people who are more Democrats go, oh, he's finished. It's done. And people who are Republicans like, oh, he's great. I don't believe any of that. I don't think it's clear at all what's happening yet. I think he's rolling the dice horribly, but it could pay off great or not. So either he pulls out of his ass, he makes a great plan, in which case the Republicans might lose the House, and that's about it. If it goes poorly and he's screwed up and it goes horribly, they're going to lose both. They will Senate also, if it goes poorly. Again, I'm not prepared to say either one yet. It's not looking good right now is what I would say. It's not looking good right now, but we'll see. Trump's pulled more stuff out of his ass in the past. If the Democrats take both, as you're saying, there is no doubt they are going to hammer Trump and all of his people with every subpoena and of course, they're going to raise so much money off of this. The amount of grandstanding. You thought Dems were grandstanding before? The grandstanding of the Democrats will be legendary. You will be like, my God, I didn't think anyone could grandstand so much. My eyes, my eyes. That's what's going to happen. They're going to grandstand so much. Most of them will probably buy brand new clothes. They will buy new suits, new dresses, everything. They will new jewelry, new watches. They're going to grandstand so much. It is going to be embarrassing to grandstanding. They're going to grandstand so much. That's for sure. I will bet any amount of money. If they win it, they're going to want to put Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, you name it. They're going to, Barron Trump's going, Melania, they're all going. Everyone's going to be in front of some Senate hearing committee or something or other so they can grandstand until tomorrow. That is going to happen. Now, the question is, will they try to get rid of Trump? Here is my thought process. Mike and I have talked about this before. This is what I think. If they believe they can remove Trump, they will impeach him. If they believe they can remove him. If they don't believe they can remove him, they'll just grandstand. They will grandstand, raise money off it, but nothing will happen of it. It'll just be a way of raising money and grandstanding. You can guarantee that will happen. So will they actually remove him, impeach him, if they believe it? And here's how it will have to happen. As I said it before, and I'll say it again. You can see it already. There are some Republicans who smell blood in the water. They're already circling Trump. Sharks circling Trump already. That's happening right now. You can see it already, to include J.D. Vance. He is also circling because he's next in line. They're all circling right now. If Trump screws this up, they may do a figurative backstab on Trump, and they might go, yeah, we'll get rid of him. In that case, Trump might resign because he'll see that he's been backstabbed and they're going to remove him. He might resign. It's possible. Who knows? But that, again, it only is if he screws this up horribly. They lose both the House and the Senate. There's a lot of ifs in the sentences, a lot of ifs in here. And the circling sharps go, get him. If that happens, I think, yes, they will not only impeach him, they will also remove him. They'll charge him with crimes. They'll do all the things. Yes. If the Democrats think they can remove him, they will do all the things. They will literally try to put him in jail. I'm not joking. They will. If the Democrats think they can remove him, they will try to put him behind bars, literally, guaranteed. The question is, what will Republicans do? Because they will need Republicans to turn on him. And there's the critical piece. Democrats by themselves can't do it. They will need Republicans to turn on him. That's the huge if. That's why I'm saying it's a big if. But if Republicans see it and they think that's it, let's get them. This is why earlier I forgot who was asking about neocons. If the neocons think they can retake the entire party, they might gamble. They might take Trump out figuratively. They might. If they honestly believe they could take the entire party back, they might do it. It's possible. It's possible. And Democrats will help them because they'll have the Democrats and neocons anyway. So they're like, oh, okay, we can go back to Clinton and Bush. Yeah, we love Clinton Bush years. Let's go back to Clinton and Bush. So if we can get rid of Trump and get Clinton and Bush back, done and done. In jail he goes. Can they do it? Here's the other part. The American people are no longer Bush, Clinton, American people anymore, right? We aren't there anymore. We're not there. If they believe, and again, it's what they believe. If they believe that the American people will go back to Bush, Clinton, they would do it. Trump, if that were true, again, a lot of ifs here, but you're asking, so I'm giving you what I think is real with a bunch of ifs. If that's all true, yeah, Trump will go to jail. No, literally, they will lock him up and put him in jail. He will be behind bars if they believe all those things are true. Now, what are the odds of that happening? I think slim. But you're asking, how could it happen? I'm giving you a pathway. Possible. I wouldn't bet on it, but possible. I hope that answers your question. All right. Shelley says, in New York, vehicle accidents are decided on comprehensive negligence. And if one party is innocent, they don't take the blame for the accident. Yes, but the insurance companies pay either way. There's some payment either way. That's the problem. So yes. All righty. Massimo now says, taxing us without giving us a reputation is how England got us into the mess in the first place. True. True. All righty. Phil says Larry is going green Monday. True, I am. Yes. We will have a GovCheck on Monday on 420, talking about certain things that are common for 420. You decide what that is. There are many things happening 420, by the way, but you decide. You can decide what that is. We'll find out when the time comes. All righty. I think I've ground down here already. Corey White says, what's the one thing you can do to bridge the Dems Republicans? Are they becoming more and more extremist? They are. The difference here is what you can do is you get them to understand, to believe in the right outcomes. You focus on outcomes. That's the issue. We focus on outcomes. That's the only answer. Otherwise, it won't work. Some people won't care. They're died in the wool Republicans, died in the wool in Democrats. I don't need all of them. I need 40% of them. That's it. And I win. Joseph says, how do we know that you aren't going to get sued off the ballot like what happened 4 years ago? Do you have a better plan? Yes, as I mentioned already, I have standing for doing those three. Not just that. I'm the only person who was in lawsuits in 2022 who have both written and oral arguments stating that these rules are unfair, wrong, don't work, and will create an aristocracy in New York. That is in my documentation in 2022. I will now come back and say, see, I was correct. You now owe me, put me on a ballot. Yes, that's a better plan, 100%. That's what the more than one lawyer, and they tend to think I have a good shot. So let's hope it's true. Yes. Laura says, if Larry became a billionaire tomorrow, it would not affect me at all. True. Well, no, it would, because I might start racing with you. And I'd beat you because I'm cooler than you. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. Other than he would be buying lunch next to me. True. If you make money, he does. If you make money, then it does. It takes money away from me. If you make money, it does. Oh, does not take money away. True. Yes, absolutely true. Yes, you're right. It does not take money away from you. Absolutely true. However, I might be a jerk and try to buy one of your cars that you like. I'm messing with you. That's it. So yes. Messinau says, I voted Johnson. Don't blame me. I agree. Yes. All right. Duke goes on to $5 and says, do you think Trump got rid of Pam Bondi because she didn't want to go after Dems for going after Trump, or something else? Something else. I think Bondi was, look, one thing, again, whether you like Trump or not, he does several things very well. One of them is he does what Steve Bannon says. He does full court press. He just throws stuff out there. Him firing people or getting rid of people is something that deals with the press. So as he fires Pam Bondi, other things get lost. He has other stuff. People keep moving. He's very good at that. I think Pam Bondi was just a casualty. I think she was a casualty. And to be forward, her handling, her communication, and I'm going, Trump's communication was terrible this term. Still bad. He's not communicating well at all. Pam's was terrible. Pam Bondi handling of the Epstein files was so insanely horrible. I cannot tell you how bad it was. It was horrible. So yeah, she deserved what she got. It was absolutely terrible. So, all right, looking at on Rumble, Phil, 2 congressmen resigned, Tony Gonzalez and Swalwell. This and the E-Pen files laws seem like an anti-corruption movement is starting with Massey and Connor leading it. Is it? Both with money and misbehavior. The problem about the misbehavior, let me do the money piece. Let me do both. All right, let me cover all of those. Number one, yes, I think Massey and Connor are pushing one of the most important things, and that is transparency. They're trying to be more transparent. And that's the best way. There's no perfect way of dealing with corruption. There's the best way you can do it, which is transparency. That's the best way. The more transparency, the less chance there's going to be corruption, the less chance. There might still be it, but there's just less chance of it. You have less of it with more transparency. So they're pushing that, which is great. I'm happy about that aspect. But when it comes to money and misbehavior, I think they're trying, yes, but the key is also transparency and money. And with PACs and such, it's hard to make that happen. But something else, misbehavior. Americans are insanely, and I mean insanely, forgiving. We are. What we hate is the lying and the cover-up. We hate it. And I'll give you the best example I could possibly give you recently, which is the E-Files. RFK Jr. When he found out, or when someone told him whatever, he figured out he was in them, he came clean immediately. He said, I was on the plane. I love the plane. And it was very forward. I love everyone's going to give me a free jet ride. I'm taking it, put my family on it. I went X number of times to these places, had fun, no shenanigans, but that's what I did. And that was it, right? I did those things. He said up front, he got a little bit of pushback, and now it's like he's not even in the files anymore. I mean, he said what he did, and what he said was true. What he said was true. Like he said, I did this, and the files, yep, he did what he said. And it's almost like he wasn't in it. Why? Transparency. Americans are forgiving. If you come clean and go, this is what I did before you get caught. You got to come clean before. If Swalwell had not gotten caught and just said, hey, guys, look, I want to come clean on something. Here's what I did. I'm not caught. I'm saying it before I get caught. I'm coming clean. Democrats would have forgiven him. Democrats would have forgiven. Republicans already hate him. Wouldn't have changed. Democrats would have forgiven him if he had done it. When you come clean up front with what you got or your stuff, just say it. Americans are forgiving. We really are, particularly if we like someone or we want them to win or we feel like they're one of our heroes. Think about what we forgave Bill Clinton for. Think what we forgave Trump for, right? Evangelicals have forgiven Trump for cheating on his wife, for having professional women. Of course, they love Trump. They're going to forgive him. It's fine, right? And I don't mean to be, I'm not saying what he did was fine. I'm saying it's what we do. Americans are forgiving. So if you just come clean, we tend to be okay. And I hope that Ro and Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are moving towards that. Just come clean. Just say what you did before you get caught and move on. I really think most Americans, we're okay with that. We know people are human. It's the cover-up is always worse than the crime, right? It's always worse than the crime. So yeah. All right. I think I went to that one already. Okay. Adirondack says Bonnie was a huge disappointment. I agree. Yeah. I think she was. Yes. So, all right. Shelly says, anyone else going to be getting a million ads? I hope not. Guys, I tried it. Whenever I put the ads in this thing, I always try to go at least 20 minutes in between ads. I don't know. Sometimes you guys get ads when I don't even monetize it. YouTube does whatever it wants. I don't know why it does whatever it wants. It just does whatever it wants, whether I want it or not. I'm trying my best to do it right. So yes. Gracie says, and if the GOP holds Congress, MAGA will, for better or worse, shape GOP politics for generations. Either way, neocons have the foot back in the door on foreign policy. That's true. You're right. Look, if Trump pulls this off and has something great pop up here, if he pulls this off, you're right. MAGA is going to be around for a while. He will. He will still be powerful in 2027 and 2028. And who he decides is his heir apparent will have a lot of pull in 2028. Not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee. The Republicans aren't as harsh as Democrats are when it comes to that kind of thing. It won't be a guarantee, but he will have a lot of influence. Probable, but not a guarantee on who will be the Republican nominee. If it falls apart, it'll be the opposite. He'll have no pull. He'll be a lame duck president for the next 2 years, and who he wants will be irrelevant in 2020 if it goes poorly. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. All righty. I think I did that one here. D says, I guess the RFK thing came out in the book recently. No, well, he talked about it earlier, but then the new RFK thing came up recently. So, yeah, that was the new thing. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Mike says that advice might have worked in 2019 when he was caught sleeping with Chinese spy Feng, but after that. Yeah. No, you're right. He had to do that back then. He had to do that early. You're right, Mike. He had to do that back then. The second that he figured out what was happening, he should have come clean right then and there. He got duped, which he did. There's no doubt he got duped, right? He got duped. He should have come right clean. Hey, I got duped. This is what happened. This is how it worked. Here's what happened. If he had done it then, Democrats would have forgiven him. But Mike, you wouldn't have forgiven him. You don't like him. But I'm saying Democrats. Democrats would have. They kind of forgave him for that. They kind of forgave him. This one was too much. If he had been open on that one and then open on this one, Democrats would have forgiven him. They would have been like, fine, You're still one of our fighters. Go get Trump. So well, go beat him up. They would have forgiven him. But too much. He got caught twice and had to come clean after caught twice. Too much even to swallow. If he had come clean for Feng Feng and then come clean now, again, before being caught, Democrats would have forgiven him. He'd still be in his seat right now. And that's, again, I'm being clear. Democrats would have forgiven him. Republicans would have forgiven him. Of course not. But Democrats would have. So that's the piece. So yes, Master House says she didn't love him a long time, though. Well, depends on how long time ago she wanted. So yeah, she got whatever she wanted. So maybe. Yes. Sarah says, if RFK makes it to 2028, it'll be a miracle from God, and you know he's praying. You mean staying in? No, I don't know. I think RFK you can stay. Look, unless Trump gets hammered. If Trump gets hammered, it depends how savvy Bobby Kennedy's people are. For better or for worse, and sometimes it's both, Bobby Kennedy isn't that ruthless. He just isn't. He isn't that politically savvy when it comes to the swamp. He isn't. I'm not trying to be mean. I think it's one of the things that makes him a better person. So he isn't. So how good will his team negotiate with the neocons? Right? If Trump stays well and does his thing and does everything right, it doesn't matter. He's in good with Trump. He'll be fine. He'll stay 2 years. If Trump gets his butt kicked in 2026, if that happens, well, now RFK is going to have to negotiate with the neocons who will be taking over. So how does he negotiate with them? If he negotiates well and they think, other thing is, do neocons think they need, do neocons think they need RFK, right? If they believe it. Now, if I'm a neocon, I'm keeping RFK because that's people who aren't going to go against me. And neocons care far more about foreign policy than food. They care far more about foreign policy. It's not even close. It's night and day. So neocons be like, Kennedy, we keep a mouth shut about us bombing people. And he'll go, okay, you can stay. Right? We're going to go bomb people. You're going to stay. He'll go, fine, bomb them. I'm going to go do this. Now, of course, that's going to make a lot of people who like Bobby angry because why aren't you saying things about them bombing people? And he's going to be, because I had to make a deal with the neocons. So I can't say anything about them bombing people. So I'm not going to say anything about bombing people. I think that's what will wind up happening. That's my gut. He'll have to make a deal with the neocons who are going to want to bomb people because neocons always want to bomb people. So he's going to have to just keep his mouth shut, which is going to make some people pissed off because they want him to stand up, but he wants to keep his job. Yeah. Duke, thank you again for the $5, my friend. Do you think MAGA helps Russia and China make alliances with Europeans and the world as MAGA is disliked globally? This is part of the gamble. Could that happen? Yes. Is it happening right now? Not yet. Not yet. Again, if you love Trump, you can be like, oh my God, Larry is so wrong. It's nothing. He's ruling the world. If you hate Trump, oh my God, it's happening already. I think it's early to tell. I'm not counting my chickens yet. If Trump's plans fail, yes. But you can see what he's trying to achieve. It'd be nice if he tells somebody outside of his own people what he's trying to achieve. If he communicate well, be nice. If it works, if he makes this great plan, then no, I think that won't happen. I think what will wind up happening is if he gets what he's trying to achieve, right? And I'm still iffy on it. If he does, you will find Russia will actually wind up getting some sanction relief. Russia will actually be able to mend some of its stuff with Europe so that it will not be closer to China. That is, believe it, and I've said this before, while Obama failed at this, Obama actually recognized this. Biden didn't recognize it. I don't know where Biden was. Obama actually recognized this and was making attempts to try to get Russia out of China's sphere. He was trying. He did not work, but he recognized it and was trying. Trump was more effective in that first run. Biden didn't care at all. It wasn't his world at all. Trump is now trying that now again. He's following what again, Obama saw it. Trump sees it too. If it works, then no, Russia will actually come closer to Europe after this. There'll be a deal with Ukraine, and America will be able to kind of move away from Europe and move more towards them with Asia and China, and also being able to kind of isolate parts of China and forcing China and making more deals. That is what Trump is trying to achieve. I don't see it happening right now. And I think one of the biggest issues is the Iran war combined with the Russia-Ukraine war. Those two wars, I think, are the biggest hindrances right now. Now, doesn't mean, again, maybe he can fix it. If he's able to get what he wants, I think no. But if he doesn't, you are 100% correct. That's what will happen. The end game will be that. If he fails, the end game is that. This is why I keep saying he's gambling. This is a big gamble. I don't think it's one I would have done. I don't think I would have rolled the dice on this one, but he's absolutely rolling the dice on this. Phil, thank you for $2. How does Israeli in Lebanon affect Ukraine and Russia? Same thing. The more Israel, as I said this last year, Israel has to make offensives now before the Russia-Ukraine war is over. And the reason, as I said before, is you do not want those Ukrainian-Russian mercs in the Middle East. If you're Israel, you do not want them because they will fight for whoever has more cash. Whoever has more cash. China's got cash. So does Russia. Right? Iran's got oil. That's how they'll get cash. They'll fight for whoever. In fact, the Ukrainians and Russia will fight the same side. They were just fighting each other. They'll come back to fight the same side. How do I know that? World War II and the World War II, Germans and French who fought against each other fought together in the French Foreign Legion. They didn't care. Soldiers will fight together. Those Ukrainians and Russians will fight together for whoever they want. And who's got the biggest merc army in the world? Russia, the Wagner Group. They're right now in Africa. You don't want them to be flooded with Ukrainians and Russians, particularly drone operators, and into the Middle East. So it affects them now. The Israelis know they need to do whatever they're going to do now before that war ends. Because once that war ends, all Israeli offensives are done. They're finished. There's no more Israeli offensives. Those days are over. And you can think I'm wrong or not. You're wrong. Because once that war ends and the Iranians can hire 40,000 Ukrainians and Russians, the Syrians, Syria can be filled with 40,000 Ukrainians and Russians. The Lebanese can be filled with 40,000. The Turks can pay for 40,000 Ukrainians and Russians to fight in Lebanon without Turkish troops fighting. They get the Russians and Ukrainians in there. Offensives are over. And Israelis know that. So they have to do all their battling before that war ends. That's why Israelis keep pushing now. If I was Israeli, I'd be thinking the same way. It makes sense if you're an Israeli. It makes sense. I get it. You have to do it. So that's how it affects. The timing is critical, right? So that's critical. And something else. While that war's going on, the Russians they really can't afford to support Iran. The war they're fighting in Ukraine, while Russia is winning that war currently, it's costing them a lot. This is not a war they're doing lightly. It is in both bodies, in blood and treasure. It is costing Russia a lot to fight this war. They are winning, but it's costing. You see, they didn't do anything in Syria. The Israelis came into Syria. The Turks came into Syria. Russians did nothing. Just sat back. And they had been supporting Syria forever. All they did was go, okay, Assad, come home. We got you. They basically provided an airplane for Assad to go to Moscow. That's all the Russians did. Nothing else. And they marched their troops over to a port and sat there and said, let us know when it's over, and we're good. That's all that happened. So I think that's the most critical piece. That people, you hardly hear anyone talk about this. This is a very important piece that people aren't talking about. The Turks will go to war if they have to. They don't want to, because it will be bloody. They want to go to war against like Syria when no one else can do anything. The Turks don't want to fight the Israelis. They would. They absolutely, but they don't want to. They don't want to put the troops in Lebanon. They don't want to, but they would. But they would way happily put Ukrainians and Russians, write a check, off you go. Happily do that. So would UAE, right? China. And of course, now Russia's got a problem. Russia now has another issue, which some of you may not recognize. I mentioned this before, the conquistadors. In Spain, after in the 1400s, after the Spanish had fought the Moors and pushed the Muslims out of Spain, they had thousands of soldiers who were battle-trained soldiers, been fighting, Muslims for whatever, 50 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long it was. What do you do with those people now? Well, I now want to have peace in my land. Last thing I want is 20,000, 50,000 soldiers running around who just want to go kill people. Send them to America. That's why they call them conquistadors. Go conquer that. Go fight. Go someplace else. Well, now Putin got the same problem. He's been fighting in Ukraine for 4 years now, 5 years now. He's got at least 100,000 soldiers who are battle trained, if not more, right? The actual battle trained hardened, who now got to come back and work at a gas station. They're going to work in a convenience store, making $500 a month. They won't do that. Okay. Join Wagner. We'll pay you $2,000 a month. Off you go to Syria. Happily do that. So, yeah. To go back to $5, it seems Trump is taking these huge risks because the U.S. is losing respect worldwide anyway. Is there any truth to that? I think the U.S. is in a very tough spot, and a lot of people are seeing us in a very tough place. You're right. And I think they also aren't sure. They're like, wait a minute. Is America a paper tiger? Is America still strong? Does America have economic power? Does America have this? I don't know. I think a lot of people are doubting America. I think that's true. They're doubting. They're not sure how powerful we are anymore. They're de-dollarizing. We're seeing that. They're seeing how outdated our military is. I know people get mad when I say it, but it's true. Our military is outdated. We're the most powerful military in the world. True. We're also the most expensive in the world. And this goes back to World War II. The Germans who made some of the best tanks in the world, but the Russians made 6-1. So who cares? And that's how it's working now. And we're seeing how our carriers can't even go. Our carriers can't go through the Suez Canal because they can't enter the Red Sea because the Houthis might sink them. I'm not making that up. That's real. We floated all around the Horn of Africa. That's true. Our carriers now big targets, totally outdated. Our tanks, totally outdated. They're all out. They're all obsolete. I know Mike doesn't think tanks are obsolete. I would ask, where's the new Russian tank, the T-14 Armada? Where is that? Nowhere. Where's the new American tank? Nowhere. Anybody using tanks no more? Days are over. Tanks done. Where's the Marine Corps? Marine Corps has no tanks. The United States Marine Corps got rid of all its tanks. The United States Marine Corps has no tanks. Tanks are gone. You ain't gonna see no more people using aircraft carriers anymore. Outdated. Totally gone. Big targets. That's all they are. That's all they are. And I think you're seeing that happen now. So are we at no respect? No. Are we at doubt? Yes. And I think Trump does want to push and go, oh, no. You guys are wrong. We're going to make something happen. And again, it is a huge gamble. We'll see if it pays off. We'll see if it pays off. D says, if Trump is successful with getting Massey out, that might spark for the revolution. I don't think he will get him out at all. I don't. But, it's possible. It's possible. If he does, if Massey does lose, I don't think he will again, but if he does, it means the neocons have completely dominated the party. Totally dominated the party. Totally. Because Trump will eventually go, right? Eventually, and there'll be no one left. There'll be no liberty wing of the Republican Party, no Tea Party wing of the Republican Party. None of that will exist. It'll be neocons and Trumpsters. And when Trump is gone, neocons. That's all it'll be. Because most of the people who are hardcore Trump people or MAGA people, they've gone anti-Trump, right? The MTGs and those people. So, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. Adam says, also, thank you for doing this a long stream. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Nuner says, Larry, do you think that Iran will return to Kosovo 2.0 rather than Iraq 2.0? I think that Trump wants that to be the case. And yeah, I think he wants it to be the case. The problem is Iran is not going to surrender, right? We know this. They're not going to surrender. Remember Trump's unconditional surrender thing, which I was so pissed off when he said it because I told you it was dumb. His communication is so bad. And because there is no such thing. He's negotiating now. That's not unconditional surrender. Why did you say that? So anyway, Iran's not going to surrender. Iran is going to negotiate. It's not going to surrender. It's not a thing. Iran, the Persians are thousands of years old. They would rather be bombed into the Stone Age. They would accept that. Fine. Bomb us into they would accept that. Their cultural pride would accept being bombed in the Stone Age before they would surrender. They're not going to surrender. They will negotiate. That's what they'll do. So he's got to find the negotiation. So he wants to be Kosovo. My worry is it might become Iraq. All those troops going to Iran, this goes back to the earlier question, right, that Duke of X talking about. If Trump brings all those troops there, And now there's 15, 20,000, 40,000, whatever number is, troops off the coast of Iran. And Iran doesn't surrender. What's Trump going to do? Does he just walk away? You could walk away after the bombing, and to be forward, there was one thing Trump was doing that was very savvy. He was talking like the war was already over. We already got rid of him. Which to me was actually smart, saying that, oh yeah, it's over. So if he wants to walk away, hey, we can walk away. We already won. Whatever. We won already. So who cares? We're going to walk away, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, open up the thing. Why are you saying open up the strait? You just said we won the war. What are you doing? I thought you didn't care. Say you don't care. We won the war. Walk away. No, he says that. Then he starts sending more troops there. Why? You sending more troops there if we won the war already? Stop. What are you doing? So now he has a point to where I got whatever, X thousands of troops there. And what if they close the straits again? And I got X thousand troops there. What are you going to do? Walk away? You walk away, you look bad. Somebody getting bombed. Somebody getting invaded. Yeah. So, Lunatic says, there are some spicy people in government positions. Grindr and Tinder are on fire when the politicians congregate. You're not wrong. And again, I'm not mad at you. This goes to my point, Lunatic. Just come clean. If you like Grindr, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad you like Tinder. Good for you. Why are you lying? Why are you pretending like you're so cool but cheating on your family or friends? Just come clean. Say, look, I like Grindr. I like Tinder. Okay, go do you. Get your freak on. I'm not mad at you. It's the lying that I can't stand. Just get your freak on and do you. I don't care. I'm with you. Yes, I'm totally with you. All righty. Sarah says, I'm about 40 minutes behind and we're talking about solar panels. I live between solar panel field and Christmas tree farm. We don't grow food anymore. Thank you. Thank you. And they do it because they think that's the only way they can make money. Yes, they think it's the only way you can make money. D says, no Sharpe Way podcast. That's true. This is our last one for the week. We're back on GovShack on Monday. That is accurate. Yes, that is accurate. That's true. Let's see here. Mass Manal says the sum total of Trump's concepts of military strategy is to get a doctor's note for bone spurs. That's cute. Adam says, if Massey loses and we're stuck with neocons and progressives, I'm seriously not voting anymore. I voted for Trump twice, but no more neocons. I know it's a problem. Phil says it. Just walk away. It's true. So often it's true, but I don't want to walk away, Phil. I'm not going to do the meme because I don't want to walk away. I want to keep fighting. I'm trying. I want to keep fighting. It's important to me that we keep going. I am still a Marine, which means I must fight until I no longer have the means to resist. And at the moment, I still have the means to resist. Guys, I want you to please click the button known as like. I appreciate it tremendously. Please share. If you have not, repost this someplace. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Please do so. It does matter. I'm asking, as always, if this is the new rules, once this is over, please put a comment. The comment I want is, what do you think of Mamdani? That's what I want. What do you think of Mamdani? And remember, if you see this and it's not live, you'll see 2 videos pop up. Please watch one of them right away. Mr. Rhythm loves it. Algorithm. I'll be back on Monday with the GovShack. I will see you all very soon.